Oh, it was nice to bring that one back. What's happening, guys? All right, let me scooch. How's everybody doing? How's it going? Oh, more live streaming, more discussion, but this time with the Patreon family, which is always fun to do. How's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Having a good day, huh? Still, yeah, sun's still going down over here, so. There we go. Phil, hope to talk to you. Jade, what's up? What's happening? We got Jason here. Morbin versus Batten time. Yeah, I saw that when it came to people talking about Batgirl in the script, supposedly. I'm like, was that a real thing? Was that actually a real thing? I don't know. What's going on, M Enterprises? What's going on? Hey, Lane. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, who else we got here? We got Stephanie. Yes, good. Always good to see you. What's going on, Abel? All right. It's too late over here. Maybe next time. Well, there you go. You know, I try to start a little earlier than usual. Sometimes we usually start these things at 8 o'clock. So, you know, it happens. But anyways, hopefully you guys are good. Yeah, if you guys want to join, just you know, it's the Patreon family, you know, and I try to do as much as I can for the supporters of Patreon. And I'm like, hey, if you're gonna like help support the channel, come on and talk. Let's talk. Let's have a chat. Let's have a live chat. So, you know, if you want to join, go ahead and you know, just join the Patreon and get that. See, I may or may not but don't fall asleep again there, Phil. Don't fall asleep. Oh man, you're gonna have to tell me about that one. What's going on, buddy? We got Boomish. How you doing, Bainwall? If I'm saying your name right. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, guys. Hopefully, you guys watch the Walter Hamada video. I try to make it somewhat entertaining when it came to that. So anybody who watched it, it was funny because you know my immediate thought when I was writing the concept of the video, I was like, all right, there'll be celebration when we hear about Walter Hamada possibly quitting. But then, of course, then there's like that follow-up article from the Wrap that basically says that, hey, no, they actually want to keep him here and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, well, obviously I should use hello, darkness, my old friend. But I went, oh, I did this before and I got a copyright thing. And I'm like, I can't do that because, so then I decided to make my own version of that. So, and I was like, you know what? Why not do that? You know, so, all right, man. Hey, hopefully we'll get to talk to you, Carrie. You know, trying to get that internet set up. Yeah, new place. And I get how that is. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah. So then I just kind of made the joke out of the fact that I couldn't use the actual song. And I was like, all right. So hopefully, thank you for saying that, Lane. I was like, hopefully it looks good or sounds good or whatever. I figured why not? Because I originally was like full on. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna use that. And I went, wait a minute, I can't do that. It's copyright. So then I thought, oh, all right, I'll just try to use some other sad music, some royalty-free sad music. But then I was like, no, let me just make the music myself. So I did it myself. Just so stupid, but fun. So, all right. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link for the patrons. So expect it right now. Let's see, drop it over there, and then we'll talk to some of those guys. Patreon stream link. All right, here you go. All right, so we're doing that right there. Like I said, if you want to join, do so. Like I said, it's just it's the you know, and I'm wondering what I'm gonna do when it comes to the tiers. I know they're I don't know. There's the $3 and $6 tier, and I'm just kind of wondering. I'm like, I should just combine that or something. The dollar tier is just hey, throw $1 at you. But anyways, all right. So there we go. Posting it right now, so you guys should be seeing it. And we'll get those guys in here and we'll have a conversation. More conversation on what happened this week. My God. Hamada about to get. Oh, yeah. His days are freaking numbered. When you have Frosty from Collider, when you have him saying that his days are numbered, that says something right there. That shows how bad things are. So it really does show that. So I'll be like, ready, the Hamada. It's time to go. Fair to say, Dave, we shouldn't expect an Ayer cut in the next year. I mean, come November, we're gonna push for that, and Mr. Ayer is gonna push for that too, and we'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, if it's with the recent news that happened this week, it does kind of like it's it does affect. It did affect that because it's like, oh shit. I mean, they're really just cutting a lot of things, so it's like, are they going to want to even send any money over to Ayer? I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's worrisome when it comes to that, but I say just still keep pushing. It doesn't hurt to keep pushing. But yeah, and then some people, I know, I always love when people are like, oh, it's only a little bit. It's only a little money. Oh, really? Like what? And then you're like, how much? And like, a couple million. That's not a little money. That's really not a little money. So it's like, Jesus Christ, that's not a little bit of money. A couple million is not a little, and they're pinching the pennies. All right, man. Thank you, Rowdy, for showing up. All right. You're working tonight? Oh, man. I was hoping to talk to you, Jason, but hey, next time, buddy. All right. So, and then we got Miss Captain Gator Girl here. Good to see you. Scoopy Pants has been all over this too. I know he's talking about. I know he had that little spaces thing that happened today. I didn't listen to it because I'm blocked, so I couldn't do that. So couldn't listen. But I got the cliff notes of all that thing. So could Ray Fisher come back if Hamada's gone? Possibly. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get some of the guys in here. All right, make sure that's good. The burn stuff. All right, make sure the background is there. We're good. All right, we got Phil and we got Eric. What is happening, guys?
I didn't know you were blocked by Umberto too.
Oh yeah, man, long time ago.
Makes two of us.
Yeah.
David's blocked by Scooby Pants. I'm blocked by Disgrace.
She blocked me just last week. Funny enough.
Okay.
Yeah. You know who else I'm blocked by? Funny enough, William Shatner.
What?
I shit you not. The Shatman.
What did you do? What did you do?
Dude, years ago, he posted something and it was regards to Star Wars, and I was like, I said something to the effect of like, I don't understand why. Like, it might have been a joke or something, but like after that, he blocked me. I was like, all right, fine, whatever.
That's crazy. I'm also blocked by Rob Liefeld. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, that was during the BVS days when he was not happy about that movie, which is funny because now he's changed his tone about all that kind of stuff. But then he was like going off about it, and I was like, dude, I literally just, my tweet that got me blocked was going, hey man, you're part of the comic book community. Let the fans like what the fans like. And then he blocked me. And it was like, all right, you blocked me for that.
All I did as far as price is concerned, all I did was I quote tweeted her, and like she was basically like blathering on her about something, and I just went, look at me, I'm Grace Randolph, look at me now, I'm Grace Randolph, look at me, and then she blocked me.
Well, I can see that.
I told Rob Liefeld Venom was better than Deadpool as a movie.
Oh, wow, nice.
That was an instant block right there. I'm still proud of that one. I laugh every time I think about it too.
That's a good one.
Okay, what do I got here? Well, I was giving a little bit of a tease earlier tonight about like what I was going to do, but brother bought a coconut. He paid it for a dime. His sister had another, paid it for the lime.
What is that? Oh, is that lime juice?
Yeah, coconut milk and lime juice. Because I figured you put the lime in the coconut, you drink them both up.
There you go. You got it in a copper mug there too, so that's cool. You drinking anything tonight, Phil?
The thing that put me to sleep last night on Enoch's
stream. So
stream.
Tell me about that.
Oh man, that was a lot of fun. I honestly didn't expect for that stream to go on. I was trying to go to bed and then I just passed out in my chair. Like I woke up and I look at my screen, everyone's gone. I was like, oh fuck, I fell asleep on the lounge.
What time did you wake up? What time did you wake up?
It was like 1 or 2 o'clock our time in the morning. And
because it was the funniest thing because Captain Gator Girl, who Nikki, she's the one that posted like the clip.
Yeah.
And then it's just funny because it's just you're just in your chair, just out, and Enosh is just talking to you gently, like, oh, is Philip? It's just the way. And I just was laughing my ass off when I saw that. I was like, wow. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to get the lowdown on that. That's a fun one right there. I mean, falling asleep on a stream.
I was looking at that, Phil, and I was just thinking of the times where, because the stream, like the Patreon stream, does sometimes go on for pretty long. There have been times where I was getting pretty tired, and I was like, "Oh, geez, I hope I better not doze off. I better not doze off." But fortunately, I am never the one who dozes off. Often it's Jay.
It's Jose.
That's honestly the first time I think I've ever fallen asleep on a stream. Truthfully,
that's hilarious. I know. I even invited Enosh onto the vodka stream last night. He goes, "Oh, dude, I didn't mean to do a stream like there." I was like, "Yeah, no problem. I mean, I get it. Like, do whatever." Because I know Ray was on there too, and then he jumped on the vodka stream, and I was like, "Hey, that's perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. We could cross the streams. It's fine. There's a lot of things to talk about for sure." But yeah, it was just funny when when I was looking at my feed this morning and I saw the video of you just out. At least you weren't snoring. I mean, it didn't.
This is true. Yeah.
Apparently, I am a bit of a snorer. I mean, I've never noticed it myself.
I think we all are.
Yeah, when Ray showed up last night, I was surprised because I just wasn't expecting him to be there. Not because of reasons or anything. It's just, oh, that's a nice surprise. I like talking to Ray. Ray's a cool guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Ray's good. I mean, I know he gets a little wound up when it comes to some things, but that's what I like about it. I like how when he gets really I mean, I remember the week before when we had Christopher on from T3 Media, and then we had that kind of when we were talking about the Ezra situation, and things got a little hey, what kind of point you trying to make? And Chris was trying to make a certain point, but it didn't come out right. And then Ray, I could see Ray, his blood was boiling, and I'm just like, whoa, okay. And then all of a sudden, then we realized what he was trying to say, so that was cool. And now we got a close up of Mr. Williams' chin right there.
Oh, the guy who put me to sleep last night. Yeah,
that was hilarious. That was hilarious. Speaking of Ray, yeah, we wound Ray up last night. We're talking about Ray from Flightcast, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about Batgirl, and he, you know what? And I can understand completely where he's coming from. When he got emotional about it, but I can also understand where they were coming from as well. And the only enemy is the outgoing people, the people who actually, the Hamadas and the people who greenlit things that now have to be dealt with. So,
well, what's funny too is I think you guys got it out of him, because when he came on the vodka stream, he was actually pretty relaxed, and I'm like, okay, you guys must have really got it out of him, because when he showed up here, I was going, okay, let's see, and Ray was actually he was pretty calm. So I think you guys got it out of him. So thank you.
The conversation was elevated but respectful. We had a lot of fun. It's not often outside of a certain pocket of people that I stream with. It gets crazy. Like we were talking about, I don't know if you were still woke, Phil, when we were talking about the turkey, with the damage that the turkey did to friendships and stuff.
That might have been right as I was dozing. Wait, was Ray still there? Because I fell asleep after Ray left. It was
Ray went, so you might have been out. But Enosh brought up the turkey again. I remember that whole turkey. I'm like, wow, I remember people ended other people over this. A turkey and a Final Crisis graphic novel, and there were whole streams of people screaming at each other and unfriending each other, leaving chat groups. I'm like, this is a turkey. What's going to happen before a ham? I mean, it's
a turkey, and it's Zack Snyder doing what Zack Snyder does, and it's just like, man. I mean, I tell you, I know there's people that got upset with me where I was like, I mean, guys, yeah, that's cool, but I mean, let's relax a little bit here. I mean, the guy, he likes to throw little things in his picture. Doesn't mean a lot of things. I mean, but hey, it's always funny. And then of course, hey, Mr. Jacob is here with that beautiful head of hair of his.
Wow.
What's going on, buddy?
That takes some work right there, man. I can't.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Was this at
Yeah,
all
do it.
inspired by Sandman, Jake?
I if at any point you ever consider like getting a film to get a full-on old school '70s fro.
Yeah,
Dude,
there you
it's
go.
too hot for that.
Just let it go. Just let it go loose. I think you've had it pretty long.
I
at
mean,
point.
I did have it like that, but then I
Yeah.
did have to cut this. Everyone was telling me to cut the side to clean it up, and I was like, I don't want to, but I guess I have to. If I have to, I will. And then no one liked how it came out, but I guess it's kind of it looks better now. It's like kind of the sides are growing back in. I think it'll look messy soon.
It's like The Weeknd. That guy, The Weeknd, that does his.
Oh, The Weeknd. He kind of does a hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
By
Right.
the way, anyone else have a drink or me the only one with a drink? Because I put the lime in the drink and I drink it both up. How about you guys?
Yeah. Who else got a drink? Well, I don't know if these guys do. Well, I know, William, you drink a lot of what? Mountain Dew?
Yeah, I'm actually cutting back on the soda. I'm actually drinking a VO, the stuff with the orange drink. I've cut
There
back
you
on
go.
a lot of sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to cut back on that sugar, man. I tell you.
Yeah, so I can stay in shape. Yeah, I just stopped by to say hi real quick. Hey, now I understand why all those times you ghosted me before you came on the show, because I got to do an overnight stream. So now I understand what you mean by not wanting to come on. And then
Yeah. I'm telling you, when you have to prepare for a stream, it's difficult to go on to another one. Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, when you had them on Fridays, I was like, it's hard because I'm preparing for my stream, but
and they go long. Your streams are like 4 or 5 hours. Well, one last night was 5 hours. I came in after
5.5. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were still going a little bit, but yeah, I just saw Prey. I thought Prey was great. I thought Prey should have been on a big screen, but because of that direct that they released in 2018, that kind of scared them away from putting it on a big screen, which is unfortunate. I thought this one was really good. I thought she drove the movie, but everybody drove the movie. I mean, it was a credit to Native American right there. Not a credit to French Canadians, maybe, but but a credit to them. But that was it. Sandman. I watched the first episode of Sandman. I thought Sandman was good. It could really use a lot of improving, though. There's a lot of room for them to improve, but for what it is, it's good. I like Cain and Abel. Looked exactly like they jumped right out of a Vertigo book. Everybody else on there, the way they opened it up, I thought it was cool. So anybody who read the books back in the, when they were actually putting these books, it is exactly like what they used to do in Vertigo, Vertigo Plus, before they kind of like went off the rails with that one. So enjoyed Sandman. What else came out this week? There's not much. Not much else to talk about other than
Bullet Train came out. Any movies? I don't know. I like Bullet Train. I don't know if anybody
I'm gonna go
saw
see it on Sunday. I'm gonna see it tomorrow. Was it any good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. What did you think about it, Jacob?
I thought it was really great.
Yeah. It's a fun movie. I mean, I know people say that a lot, especially about Marvel movies. Fun, but I'm like, this was like, there's this one felt like, because it felt like everybody was having fun on the set. Even Brad Pitt looked like he was just having a great time, and he's kooky and the whole thing, and it's just a good little action movie. Not little. It's like a
big budget. They got every star in the world in there. It looks like, but
and there's some cameos. There's some cameos that are great in there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks fun. I think I'll go ahead and see that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Other than the only other news was obviously the stuff that we've already wound each other up over. Hamada, Batgirl. I love how Hamada's like, I think I'll stay until the 21st. Your ass is gone, dude. There's still people saying you might stay around. Like what?
No,
I'm like
this. When you have like first you have an article that comes out that goes, oh yeah, he was about to quit, blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden you have the Wrap do a follow up going, oh no, they told him to come back, they wanted him to stay there. It's like,
bullshit.
The Wrap. When it's the Wrap, anytime it's the Wrap and it's fucking Scoopy Pants that puts that shit out there, I'm like, all right, I already know you're in those pockets. Yeah, it's like
Rolling Stone, which I pay for a monthly subscription for, is about to lose me.
Yeah,
them and TMZ. Listen, I never liked the way TMZ put things out as quickly as they put it out because some of their stuff was distasteful. But I never had a problem with the validity of it. The last couple of months, the two organizations that used to be bedrocks have become questionable. All they needed to do is put this is an editorial on each of their things, and I would have been okay with it. I wouldn't have liked what they had to say, but when they presented the stuff that they presented as fact. And like I said, I'm paying for this. I mean, people are going through the paywalls. and say, oh, can't read it because they want me to pay for it. I'm telling you, don't pay for this anymore. I'm a subscriber of Rolling Stone telling you to stop paying for Rolling Stone because they've gone off the rails. But
yeah, this was brought up last night on the lounge chat. Like, Rolling Stone used to be pretty notorious for being exclusively about music and being concrete with their information regarding music. Now it's just turned into kind of a shit show ever since.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. I just don't get it.
I gave the piece way back that 500 greatest songs in the history of rock or something, and that list, for some reason, that list was filled with Jay-Z songs. But it got a whole bunch of Jay-Z songs, and there was for, let's say, for example, American Pie was nowhere to be found, and it's like, what the hell? No, again, I got nothing against Jay-Z. He's good, but to think that a whole bunch of songs were more deserving to be on that list than American Pie, I don't think so. I mean, and that's not even about when they that domestic terrorist, that bomber on the front cover, making him look all handsome like Jim Morrison.
When back in Cop Killer, I don't know, you guys might not be old enough. Back when Ice-T did Cop Killer and he released that, and it was just a huge thing. And it was really a sensitive topic to cover, but they covered it well. And if you would have turned in what Tatiana Siegel turned into her editor, it would have made the press. It just wouldn't have happened, and she would have probably been dismissed.
This is the problem with journalism. I mean, in a lot of things. I mean, sometimes it's just they just put shit out there, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? And then I know it's starting to leak into all kinds of things. I mean, the fact that, and then when she did the follow up Rolling Stone article after the Batgirl cancellation, she was still emphasizing the significant amount of fake accounts. I'm like, 13% is not significant. Yeah. Learn the words that we all agreed when it came to English language. Significant is a big amount. 13% is not a big amount. I'm sorry. TMZ even said that is a reach. When TMZ is questioning your number, that's bad. It's really bad.
Someone pointed out, I believe it was Chris Clinton, but pointed out that, the percentage in the fandom, if we're just 13%, there's 20-something% of followers of Rolling Stone are bots.
Yeah, I pointed that out too. Yeah. Like they had like 23-point-something% fake followers and it's just, I mean, it's a normal thing. I mean, bots are everywhere. Hey, look at that. We got Champagne Pepe. What's up?
What's up? How you doing?
Got that Dodgers uniform on and everything.
I had to rep the Dodgers.
Hey, was that the day? Was that the day that we?
That was the day. That was the day.
If anybody didn't know, we caught a Dodger game, Mr. Jose and I got to meet him in person. It was funny too because when we met there, I saw him. And he looked like this direction, and I pointed at him, and I was like, and then he looked away, and I'm like, wait, was that? Did I just point at some random Mexican with the fucking Dodgers? Yeah, I'm like, oh shit, did I just point at some? Yeah, but then it was you, and I was like, oh shit, I thought I was like, yeah, I've seen his picture. I'm like, that's him. And
I didn't even notice you, but then I saw the mustache, and I was like, oh, that's
yes, the mustache. Yeah,
meeting Dave's is something else, man. Like I said, when I see him on the screen all the time. And then when you do your thing without your shirt on, I'm like, this dude's huge. This is a bodybuilding dude. This is a guy I would not want to I don't want to meet you in a back alley on the wrong side of the coin.
Yeah, but I've met you in real life too, William. And, I'm vertically challenged, but
I'm like, wow, I could take this guy. No, I'm just kidding. That's not
Yeah, they had me fixing my posture and putting my chest out a little bit more than
standing next to I know. It's always anytime you meet somebody in person, it's always like interesting the height level. I mean, Jose's a little taller than me, but not by much. I mean, I wasn't sure if you were like going to be like 6 foot or like around my height. Yeah.
I'm 1.5.
Yeah.
Make what you will of that, but I'm nowhere near as good as you are, though, Dave.
Hey, gotta try.
Hey, Phil, you're awake.
Wow. Yes, I am.
Up,
and not drunk. Not yet.
Not yet.
How long were you out after that? Because we kept you open for quite a while.
Yeah. I like I told Dave, I think I fell asleep around, or I think I woke up around 1:30. a.m.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh damn.
Pacific time. Yeah.
Phil was
We were
like,
his
all
neck
right.
is gonna be hurting. His neck is gonna be all. Was your neck messed up when you woke up?
Nope.
Yeah. We
Phil
were
was
trying to
like,
scream through the earphones. We were trying to, hey, wake
yeah.
up.
Yeah, I know. You guys should have played Metallica or something. That
I
probably would
told
have
him.
Phil was like,
I
well,
would
it's gonna be
just play the reveille. I would just play the reveille.
There you go.
Phil was getting a head start on the 10-year plan. He was like, 10 years, all right, let me
Yeah, that was
start
funny. Somebody
sleeping
said
right
10
now.
years.
throw
10
myself in
years.
cryo sleep.
Yeah, Phil said, I'm out now. I'm not waiting 10 years. I saw that meme. Hey, that 10-year plan is going to be a 5-year. What did we say, 2-3 years? I'd say we're going to see some action in within that time. I think 10 years will be the culmination of it. But
Well, yeah. I think it's one of those things where you just kind of go like, all right, who knows when's this plan gonna like kick into gear? That's what's up in the air with the current movies that are out there right now. It's like, all right, are the current movies that are coming out going to be incorporated with that 10-year plan, or like after Flash, are they going to just go, all right, we couldn't work it out with certain people like Cavill and blah blah blah. Let's just hit the red button and just start over fresh. I think. Yeah.
I'll just say, much as Jose desires it to happen, I do not see, Cavill and Warner Brothers Discovery falling through. I think, look, honestly, with him outside for it, Zassoff is looking at this. He's noticing the pulse for it. So, as far as I'm concerned, and I've been saying this many times, it would be a lot cheaper. Zassoff would know that. It would be a lot cheaper to give Cavill what he wants than to spend God knows how many millions to film a complete rebooted Superman origin.
because that's 5 or 6 years. Remember how long it took the general public to embrace Cavill. So you're putting yourself through that again, and we don't know if that'll stick. And what I'm saying about that is take advantage of what he is now. It's a guy who can build a computer and have all the MILFs just losing their mind. Take advantage of that.
William and I can agree on things.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but at the same time, I'm like, when people say like it would be more expensive to get new actors, I'm like, is it really? Because they would pay them less, obviously. I mean, if Cavill's wanting he's wanting $15 million, they could pay somebody else like probably like a lot less for that. But I get at the same time, it's like you're paying for the value of the name, and you're paying for, like you said, William, is like people and moms out there that love him, and not just moms, but yeah, there's like a whole thing when it comes to that. But I don't know, I just always find it weird when people throw the article like the argument of like, well, it'd be more expensive with newer actors. I'm like, how is that if they hire people who are not as valuable? So
New actors are not still making another Superman origin film. When look, we have.
What's to say that they don't do that though? What if they just decide to like go, hey, this one's going to be like look at the Batman. It wasn't an origin Batman film, but because everybody knows the origin. So what if they decided to be like, yeah, we're not going to do an origin film again, just like what Kevin Feige said about Fantastic Four. It's like, yeah, we're not going to do an origin film. It's already going to be an established group, and of course there's going to be like obviously probably and that's what's going to be happening. Even same thing happened with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Did they do an origin film? No, because we all know the story, and then there's going to be references to it. So they're not going to do, if they end up doing, if there's a new Superman that ends up coming in, they aren't going to do another origin film. I guarantee it. Yeah, we're not gonna, maybe we'll see a flashback or something like that, but that's about it.
Yeah. Here's the risk that they run, though: exhaustion. And like the point I was trying to make last night is, without a credible ending to the linear line you're on, that's a big ask for somebody to come in and buy. It's like, hey, wait a minute. I know I've wasted 7 to 9 years of your time, but hold on. Stay right here for a second. I'll be right back, and I'm going to be right back with something else new. You've already exhausted my trust and credibility. So this reboot thing, I know everybody brought it up. This current company in its current state, DC Films, does not have the credibility to ask that much of anybody. You got a lot of people who've given up on it now that are not even that close to it as we are. And they just, like I said, when we did the Pattinson thing, when we did we don't know off the screen, and we did the surveys for the movie, and people think that they're automatically going to assume to connect the dots or disconnect the dots. I had everybody and their mother asking me. I thought the other guy was playing him. Why does he look so much younger? Yeah, so they're not, and that was like 7 out of every 10 people that we gave tickets away to and filled that theater with. So you're exhausting the credibility of when you reboot, you're basically saying, I've wasted your time. I'm asking you to give me more of your time to waste. That's what reboot translates into. And the problem with DC, it's not just on films, it's on paper level too. One of the biggest problems that makes it really hard to sell DC Comics right now is they fucked up their continuity over the last 15 years where people just throw up their hands and walk away from it. There's easier things to do than DC Entertainment right now, and they make it that way.
Well, saying that, I mean, they brought back Affleck. So do you guys think if they're gonna reboot, why would they bring back Affleck? Just for the continuity, just so it can be fixed before the Flash?
No. I mean, I think what it is just the fact that it's like if they have this 10-year plan to like build up a universe, it's like, all right, but Affleck is coming back for Aquaman, and then of course he's going to be there for the Flash, which some people, it seemed like people forgot about that. I was like, when that whole thing was happening, I'm like, you guys know that he's got a bigger role in the Flash, right? Anyways, but then I was like, okay, but what's to say, like, okay, so if the two hot commodities are Cavill and Affleck, which is, from what I gathered, that's the value, because obviously look what happened. I mean, just the fact that the Cavill hype pre-Comic-Con was more than what happened at Comic-Con, and then the post-hype of Affleck being in Aquaman was bigger than anything at Comic-Con. So it's like, all right, you guys have both that, but I'm like, all right, but what's going to be happening with these two? Is Affleck going to be like, all right, yeah, I'll still continue to be Batman well into like to my 60s, and is he going to end up doing his own movie, which we would all love to see? And but as of right now, he's just kind of going, I'll just show up in other movies and the door is open. I'm not gonna like not come back or anything like that. And then Cavill is like asking for his values up, so he's asking for that. And it's just like, with Zaslav cutting everything and pinching every little penny, it's just everything's just so up in the air, and hopefully they figure it out, because Cavill would be like a big thing if they got him back in time for October. So.
And by the way, building on what you said, I believe you said, William, about how out 7 out of 10 people were like asking you, was like, wait a minute, this guy, he doesn't look anything like that. Like, what's and I don't know how much of what you said in your place on Patreon, how much we can talk about here. I don't know if we have any permission to talk about this. It's something you said.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Talk about what?
I know your mic's been kind of like it's kind of low when it comes to Eric. Yeah.
Right. Well, something that you said about, I was wondering how much about what you posted on Patreon, how much that you can talk about.
Oh, he's talking to Dave. Okay.
Which one are you talking about? Which thing were you talking about?
The Batman, about like the sequels to The Batman. About Zaslav.
Oh, how I've kind of said that on Film Junkie Live, where I'm like, not even the Batman is, not even Reeves is safe when it comes to this kind of stuff,
Oh, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, true.
Based on what you said, I believe you said, William, about how 7 out of 10 people were asking you about, wait a minute, is this connected to the Batman that you had, or is it to Batman?
I think whatever.
Yeah, because
whatever Zaslav has.
Was Ben Affleck, and there was never a resolution to that.
Yeah, because the thing is, the fact that it looks like Zaslav might be cutting back on the Reeves verse, that it's as if he is noticing, and that look, there does need to be some kind of flavor to the DCU as we know it before you move on to another.
Well, and that's what they really should do. Like I said, listen. I don't need this Zack Snyder story arc to last 25 films, and I don't say restore the Snyderverse. I say # resolve the Snyderverse. Resolve this story that you started, so people will believe that you can actually finish something.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't matter whether it was Snyder or Captain Kangaroo versus Pac-Man. Whatever you start, whatever you start, you need to finish.
That's an
Because
idea.
people look at that like, I'm not going to waste my money, and midway through, you're going to pull the rug from under me. I can go spend that money on other things. So you have to show credibility that you can finish the largest thing that you ever did. And when they do that, no matter how it ends, even if it's an ending I don't like, the fact that they resolved it, now we can move on. Game of Thrones, the last 3 episodes of Game of Thrones sucked, right? But they resolved it, and guess what? Now we're all ready to go for House of Dragon because we don't have anything hanging over our head. And you
We
can't.
resolved it on screen, but we didn't resolve it in the books, did we, Martin?
Yeah, but most people who watch Game of Thrones don't read the books, so it's just it's a real credibility issue with them. People are saying we need to move on to the Snyderverse. I'm like, why should I give you more cash? It's like I ordered a steak, you never came out with the steak, but you want to come out with some top ramen for me to eat and want me to trust you with that. Where's my steak?
The
You
thing
know what I
about
mean?
that, the thing about people saying that you need to move away from the Snyderverse. Well, Warner Brothers isn't moving away from the Snyderverse because
They haven't been.
because they're keeping these characters, and especially now with bringing Affleck back. How are people supposed to move on from the Snyderverse when you have Affleck signing on, and then you have a Batgirl movie that's canceled, and it's like Zaslav says it's a reset. They literally stopped and they're resetting, and they're like, okay, they're looking at what they have with these movies that are coming up and what the movies that have already come out before with this universe. And who knows? Like I've been telling people lately, the last couple of days, like I wouldn't be surprised if the Flash doesn't have like massive reshoots, but at least they're gonna change the third act because now they're probably not gonna have. Well, Keaton was supposed to be continuing after this. He's probably not gonna continue now because they're probably gonna be like, okay, well. Maybe they'll keep Affleck and be like, okay, well, let's keep Affleck and we can whatever we can do after this. We'll see.
So I don't mind. I don't mind seeing an end to the Affleck storyline. I don't mind seeing an end to Cavill storyline. I just want to see an end to something. If you're going to give me a new Superman, I'll brace for it. I will commit to following you down that path after you have completed the first path. Otherwise, don't waste my time.
I've said this a million times. All I ask is one more film, one with Cavill and Amy Adams as the Senators. That's all I ask. I don't care if it's Man of Steel 2 or Justice League 2 or whatever. Just one more film with the two of them in the Senate. Then I can okay.
I've got one ask. I've just got
With
one
a
ask.
sex scene. Sorry.
Oh, the one ask I have is Zaslav. Boot Jeff Johns back to comic books. That dude has no business being in live action.
Yeah,
anything.
100%.
He's essentially. I mean, it's sounding like that's going to be the case. I mean, we there was like it was kind of weird too. Like, I mean, the Green Lantern series. Remember when people were passing around giant freaking robots like Post? I was like, wow, things are bad when people are like passing around giant freaking robots Post about the Green Lantern series being canceled. I've been saying it on Film Chunky Live for like a little bit where I'm like, oh, there's no way that's moving forward. That's going to be way too expensive and blah blah blah. But then of course something else came out, said it was still in there, but I'm like, I don't know about that because if they're canceling stuff, that Green Lantern series and movie was going to be way expensive, and if they didn't have like an actual, anything, particularly that was going to move things forward, they were going to just completely cut that. I don't know. It's just
That's dead. Zaslav said they're resetting. They literally stopped. They're stopping production on stuff. Basically, is what he's saying. He canceled a movie that was already filmed.
That's crazy. It's still crazy.
Blue Beetle, I don't know what's going on with Blue Beetle because I have no idea what that story. It could be a standalone movie, and maybe they could add like a post-credit scene or something to tie it up with everything else because that's basically what he wants. He said he wants to do like the MCU, so every single movie is going to be connected now, whether or not it's stuff is mentioned throughout the movie, and like I said, it's just a post-credit scene. That's pretty much everything's going to be. So I wonder what Blue Beetle.
I think they're going to cut Blue Beetle.
Honestly, I think it would be in their best interest to keep Blue Beetle. He's the closest thing DC has to a Spider-Man. He is a giant representation for the Latinx Mexican community. He is and that budget is too small to not. It's low risk, low reward.
Well, that doesn't seem a priority for him, though. It doesn't seem like.
Doesn't matter if it's a priority or not. It's still also getting a theatrical release. Batgirl wasn't going to get a theatrical release.
It might get a theatrical.
There is no might. It's definitively getting a theatrical release.
That's if he doesn't cut it.
And by the way, well, two things on that. First, Phil, can you say Latinx?
I'm sorry if I misspoke.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I know. You're talking about two. Me and Jose right here. We're like, no, don't. I apologize. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Do not even say that. That's something that somebody came up with that was not Hispanic.
For sure.
Yes, about Blue Beetle. Look, thank goodness this change of plans happens, before they started filming Blue Beetle, because what that means is that they can rewrite the script and tweak this, and so that it fits what the plan is moving forward.
That's true.
If the script was going to be, part of this new universe that Flash was going to assemble at the end of Flash, with, Michael Keaton as Batman, blah blah blah, like this New 52 kind of whatever. Well, then I'm sure it's going to be after that. But obviously, we would have to change that so that if there is a Batman, it's Ben Affleck and so forth. Now, and I would say, and I know, folks, you might want to check the temperature in hell, but yes, Jose and I'm agreeing with Jose on this. That the whole thing, one of the big reasons that
wait, never mind, I take it back.
For Batgirl was because no, we're not going to have Michael Keaton as the Batman moving forward. He's pretty old in the role. I mean,
71.
Batman? No. So you gotta. So they had to the fact that he's the Batman and the Metro figure, and the fact that in the flashbacks in the movie with a younger Jim Gordon with red hair, there's
yeah, well, I even talked about it last night. I'm like, the fact, Batgirl was supposed to fit in a certain spot when it came to that movie, and when everything got messed up and rearranged, it really effed up what was happening, because obviously, Batgirl was going to be in December. It's a Christmas movie. We've seen the set photos, and they're going to release it on HBO Max Christmas time. And I thought, all right, cool. It was going to be coming out after The Flash. So then that explains why Michael Keaton is Batman in this universe. But now that is not the case, that's why when test audiences watched it, they were like, wait, why is Michael Keaton Batman? It didn't make sense. And I think that's a main reason why, of course, that they're like, yeah, this is not going to work. This is a lot of this is just not working. This was some plan where this movie was supposed to fit in a tight little window, and it's not fitting there, because who's going to want to watch a Batgirl movie that has an unexplained Batman that was from Batman, from 30 years ago, and it's Christmas time, and we're releasing it during the summer? I mean, it was a fucking
Batman, and you have J.K. Simmons, the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
I get it. Oh well, but Barry was supposed to be assembling, a new timeline, like how.
Are you filling up a tire? What is that?
No, that's ridiculous. When I first heard that the last time, I was like,
"What?" Tire in my lungs. You're right. Yeah.
But that's what the Flash reshoots are going to be like. Basically, whatever stuff in the ending was, him assembling this new timeline. No, that's not going to be the case.
Whatever
we sucks, dude. No, go ahead.
Whatever we get, I trust the incoming people more than I trust the previous people. So even if I get a Blue Beetle, which I'm like, why am I getting a Blue Beetle before I get another Superman or Batman movie? But that's fine. In the hands of a guy with a plan, even as vague as it is, I got a better outlook on it than I do. If Batgirl, the concept of Batgirl would have been in the new regime's hands, I don't think it would have ever happened. I don't think it would have been greenlit. But if it were going to be greenlit, it would be given out in context to the point where I'm getting a Batgirl movie before I ever got another Batman movie. And the reason why we were getting these characters is because they had screwed up with the Alpha characters so bad that they wanted to work around them. They wanted to continue their narrative without using the characters that they had already screwed up relations with. So with a new regime, hopefully we don't have those entanglements.
Yeah,
exactly.
if it were a nice, smooth, organized universe like it was supposed to be, if there was going to be a Batgirl movie, it would have been a direct sequel to the Batman vs. Deathstroke. Because of the whole idea of how Batgirl was how Marvel was involved.
I think he's going to focus on the alpha characters. And when he had that call the other day, the names he rolled off were those were the expectations of
Again,
DC.
that's not the first time he said that too.
Yeah,
I said the same thing at that one conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is what I've been wanting to hear. I mean, I don't mind the derivative characters, the BC and the C characters, and the sidekicks and the sidecar characters. Those are fine within the proper format, but I don't want those characters before I have established what's going on with the Bat and the S. Then we can strengthen the other characters and the subsidiaries and all that. They're like I said, I got a talking raccoon, not because Guardians of the Galaxy was Martin Scorsese, but because they fit it in a mosaic of and a tapestry of everything else that they've done, and they strengthened so that Marvel can have a character because they've handled their alphas correctly.
Yeah, because the Guardians were nobodies. No one knew who they were, but Marvel was able to do that movie because they had already gained a lot of trust from the audience.
It's credibility.
They could take big swings after the Avengers, and they took their big swing with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it paid off. It also paid off because of the fact they had James Gunn in the director's chair, and he modeled the movie quite a bit like Star Wars meets Indiana Jones in some respect or another.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I remember when that was when announced, and I remember going, I was like, Guardians of the Galaxy. Do I even know what that is? And I remember looking it up. I'm like, okay, I think I've heard of this, but I'm like, really? They're gonna make a movie about this? And then when the trailer came out, I was like, oh, well, that's different. Cool. I like it.
By the way, when Zaslav talked about the two characters, everyone's pointing at, he talked about Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. He also mentioned Aquaman because there's 4 characters.
Well, it's $1 billion, movie.
Yeah, I'm still pissed he left out the logo. Still pisses me off. He left the logo out of there on the thing next to Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because you take James Gunn. Okay, so we have 2 different James Gunn movies with 2 different companies. One of them gets released, and because there's an undercarriage of support and credibility, it's going to do well. Then you have another movie, which I liked the Suicide Squad, but even with Day and Day, it wasn't going to do that great because one movie is out on an island with no support with a universe that it's supposed to be in, and the other one is perfectly connected to the universe that they were in. In the same director doing what I consider to be an equal job, 2 quality jobs for the same guy, but 2 different companies and how they handle things. You put the Suicide Squad out there like I said, when you left the Suicide Squad, what were you stepping into? Another long wait before another movie came out. When you stepped into Guardians of the Galaxy, you were propelled into Guardians of the Galaxy, and you were propelled to something else from there. And that's the common denominator, unfortunately.
Yeah, because Thanos was part of it, so it's like,
exactly.
Right.
Like the leadership, the DC and Warner Brothers leadership at the time was basically spitballing. Like Everett and Hamada, sorry to say, but they were basically just spitballing and saying, "Okay, we'll just see what sticks."
Hey, Dave, I got a question before I go.
okay.
How much of this would be a huge deal? Obviously, guys like us who enjoy Snyder's work and were really hardcore into it would have always wanted to see the ending of what he intended to put out. But if the people change course all the time and nobody ever notices, because usually when the changing of the course happens, there's a better plan in place. Yeah. Where will we be if they had decided to change course like they did, but they had a plan in place to knock our socks off? I think that's the biggest issue, is that not only did they change course, they had nothing to change to.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. I mean, it seems like, when they were trying to divert from that, it's like, all right, well, we still have Aquaman, we still have Wonder Woman, and then they were like, Patty Jenkins, what, do you want to do something different? You don't have to it doesn't have to be connected to all this. And then she wanted to, make a love letter to her childhood of watching the show Wonder Woman. That's why when people shit on it, I'm like, yeah, I know, I get it. There's a lot of things that aren't great, but it was a love letter to the show. It really was. And did it work for a lot of people? No, it didn't. But at the same time, there's a lot of people I see on my timeline that love that movie, and I'm like, fine, perfectly fine. I'm not saying it's a complete shit sandwich, but I think, when they were trying to divert from that, they were like, they thought they were just when it comes to the directors, they were like, okay, just do what you want to do, but there wasn't like a cohesive plan. There wasn't really an actual plan to really do anything. I mean, look what happened when it came to Batman. They were like, hey, we can get another director, and then Ben Affleck was like, hey, welcome to the Batcave, Matt Reeves. But then that, and then even say like, oh, I'll be a gorilla for Matt Reeves or whatever the hell he said at Comic-Con or whatever, and it ended up not happening. So it was just like, yeah, if they were going to divert from the Snyderverse plan, they should have had like an actual. They didn't have a plan. Nobody had a plan.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, dude.
All right, take it easy. Take it easy.
I was going to fill on what he said, but what I was saying was like, remember when I forget exactly who said it on one of your thoughts, Dave, but someone had said, look, even after Justice League, if they had given us a Man of Steel 2, they would have a vehement push for the Snyder Cut. Because at least that, more than anything else, would have said, at least there is a film moving forward. At least there's still plan for the Superman.
I didn't catch all that. Your mic is like really weak today.
Yeah, fix that mic thing.
Well, to be fair, so was Williams, but whatever. Yeah. Yeah. But again, what I was saying was there was someone, and I forget exactly who it was, but someone on the vodka stream sometime back who said, look, if Warner Brothers had given us a Man of Steel 2 after Justice League, there would have been a less. The push for the Snyder Cut would not have been as big. It would not have been as intense because at least, and it's for what William, the reasons that William was saying, that at least there would have been more of a feeling that there was a plan moving forward.
Was that Mark Meyer? Was that Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett that said that? I don't know. Somebody, or was that recently? I mean, I know he was on like a little while ago, but it seems like something that he would say. I don't know. I know that.
Speaking of Robert Meyer Burnett, what he said about Kingdom Come is like, look, if he's going to have a 10-year plan, if it's going to be 10 years down the line, yes, Kingdom Come would be great because by then they are that old.
Yeah,
I prefer Final Crisis personally, but yeah, I get where he's going with that.
Crisis before, I mean, Final Crisis, it was the structure was the foundation for what Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3 would have been would be. With especially with Batfleck and Darkseid gunning each other down, that's Final Crisis. But that would have been like long before Kingdom Come, and Kingdom Come would have been years later.
That's what's so curious to me because it's like Zaslav is like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Okay, which Batman though? One Batman, both Batmans, Superman. Okay. That's because it's like okay, because he says the Batman. He always talks about the Batman in his little conference things. So obviously the Reeves verse is fine because he always talks about the Batman. He's talking about Superman and Wonder Woman, and then he's talking about the movies that are coming out. He mentioned every single movie that's coming out, and he said that we've all seen them. They're terrific, and we can make them better. And it's okay, but what are you gonna like?
That was a weird thing that he said when he said better,
because they're gonna do reshoots. They're gonna do reshoots.
Yeah, I know.
Better,
well,
right?
I think that really reassures the fact that he said that all three films, Black Adam, Shazam, and Flash, were all terrific, but there were still going to be reshoots. I think that should reassure everyone that the reshoots have one purpose and one purpose alone: to make sure that they will still complete the plan. That basically the reshoots to Flash will basically just be no more of the reassembling of a new timeline with Michael Keaton and J.K. Simmons. No, that's out of it.
Keaton's done. Keaton is done. So it's like, so when he says Batman, so then it's Ben Affleck. So what's gonna happen? We're gonna get the Batfleck movie. We're gonna get. What are we gonna get? What are we gonna get from that? And then with Wonder Woman, okay, we're gonna get Wonder Woman 3, obviously.
I mean, it's
continuation of it's gonna be her third movie. She's gonna get a third movie, but then after that, what are we gonna get? And Superman, what are we gonna get with that? They need to say. And then my question is, when are we gonna get the plan? Where is the plan going to be announced? Because I don't think there's going to be any DC fandom this year. But that would be the place to do it. But it's not going to happen this year. So when are we going to get the plan?
See, I mean, that's why when it comes to all this, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's so many things that when we're trying to be like, all right, if we could keep some of this right here, how do you keep it? But then at the same time, it almost seems like they're just looking over that big red button, that reset button, just going, fuck it, you know.
Well, he also said we're gonna have a plan. He didn't say we have a plan.
Yeah, I mean,
he said we're going to have a plan.
Well, they need that DC head. That's the thing.
So he's probably shaking some dude in the office, like, think of a plan.
Yeah,
think of something.
Yeah, slapping him. I think Alan Horn, when it came to Alan Horn coming in, he just kind of was like, dude, this is not good. That's not good. And to be honest, from what I gathered, I don't think they like the whole Keaton thing. I mean, the Keaton thing probably works for the Flash, but to have him in multiple movies was not a smart plan. And it was just like, they should have just did the whole Batman Beyond thing, like when it came to him, like in a Burtonverse type of setting, because that would have been like, okay, people were actually requesting that. But to have him like, all right, he shows up in Flash, things get wonky, cool, makes sense that he shows up in Flash multiverse, cool. But then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, and then we're going to continue on in Batgirl, and he's going to be the Batman. Whoever made that decision, stupid. It was stupid. It was stupid. Let's face it. It was dumb. I was always worried about it. Because I was like, is this going to be a Batman Beyond situation? But it's Batgirl Beyond. A lot of people, I've always had my grievances about that. I was still looking forward to the movie, but at the same time, I'm like, was it really like the best option?
Well, you know what it is? You know what it is that Warner Brothers had no idea at all, and they never saw it coming, that Affleck was going to hook up with Ana de Armas, and it was going to give him 10 years. Take 10 years off his life as age, and then he was going to get back with J-Lo and marry her and be like, hey guys, you know what? I think I want to be Batman again. You know what? Fuck it. And they're like, what?
Because look. Because Batfleck, the whole idea is that Batfleck is an older Batman. So when he was saying, no, I might be done, they're like, okay, older Batman. Let's bring Keaton back.
They went way old. I mean, it's cool for the multiverse stuff. Yeah. But to continue on with it, I mean, like when people were saying that he was going to be the DCU Batman, I always hated that because I'm like, no, he's not. Because Ben Affleck is not. It's not like he's going to be going away, but he was just going to be like that Nick Fury type. Like, okay, it's not like he was going to get into the costume as much as possible.
What do you mean? He was suited up.
I know. That's the thing. But I was wondering, like, is it more flashback stuff? But then all of a sudden, we get that new BTS image, the behind the scenes image, where it's like him and Batgirl, and I'm like, all right, I don't know if did they shoot too far with it? Does it work with the story? I'm kind of curious with the context of why this older Batman is still in the bat suit and not just being like in her ear, like she has something in her cow and he's like in her ear, just like telling her how to do things and whatnot. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. They just didn't think it out.
That's why I put him in the. Hold on, guys.
Yeah. Again, I would have been fine with him being a part of the DCU as long as it would have been him and Batfleck side by side. Him and Batfleck being, the Batmen, if you will. But if just having him as the prominent Batman, which was what was going to happen in Batgirl, and this idea that there's a backstory between him and J.K. Simmons' Gordon. No. Now you're just being confusing. And I hate to say this to my fellow conservative comics that they're all right now they're commenting on Batgirl being shelved. They're all saying because it was no, the reason they shelved the movie is because of the whole. It was too confusing. It drove people nuts. No, that's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's always going to be the thing when it's too woke, bro. I hate that. I hate the argument when it's like everything is woke. And then, there's always the both sides of the thing. And that's all. I mean, when it comes to that side of the whole thing, it's like they always want to say everything is woke when it's just they did something right here. That's woke. They'll even say pray. They're saying pray is woke. And I'm like, how? I'm just kind of going it's an Indian civilization and you have this. Yes, it's a woman that. And then I'm like, okay, so what? Sigourney Weaver says hi. I mean, my God, we've had female badasses for a long time. I mean, but sometimes I get it when it's like, all right, when stuff's like thrown in your face, like constantly, sure. But it's like when always the defensive is like it's woke. And I'm like, well, watch the thing first, because I didn't feel like there was anything woke in there. I was like, what to the standards of that? I was like, I thought it was just a well done movie. I didn't care that it was like the female warrior. It was like, but they had the context of the story of her just like, yeah.
And I will say exactly that about. Look, I mean, I don't have the most amount of confidence in the that Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power show on time. But look, if they're complaining about a story, and all I can point to is, hey guys, nobody complained in Return of the King when Éowyn kills the head ring wraith, and she's like, no man can kill me. She kills him and goes, I am no man. No one whines then. So seriously,
Because the word woke didn't exist back then.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, I was like, that's why.
Literally, these are different times now. That's why all these things everything is called woke nowadays. It wasn't like that before. I don't know. It's interesting to think when this all started, honestly, because we've had female movies, we've had female heroes before. When did it start becoming like that they're trying to push an agenda with all this stuff?
So like there's like anytime there's like this push, I mean, obviously there has been a push. We can see it where it's like sometimes it's like it's just in your face, and it's always like boom, boom, boom. There's been stuff where it's like boom, boom, boom. So then you have that created a community of going like, Jesus Christ, was everything woke? So then now when anything is remotely like, hey, pray comes out and we're going to have, it's going to be in like it's going to take place in the primitive time, indigenous population or something like that, and it's going to have a female warrior, then they just automatically go female woke. But then you go, whoa, wait a minute. But we're going to explain it. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, but it's already too late, because they're automatically, because it's, there's been times where it's been slammed in people's faces like big time, that they automatically just go to that all the time. So it's like a bad counter reaction. I don't know. It's all been, the past few years have been kind of fucked up, and it gets annoying because somebody even said in the chat too, I hate that word. I hate it too. I'm so tired of hearing woke. It's just like, Jesus.
See, my thing is like, what do they want? So when you
I know, what do you want?
No, I'm talking about prey. So do you want the predator to just slaughter this girl and that's it? Like that's the end of the movie?
By that
There's
logic,
no way she could beat Predator because she's a woman, so she has to die. Like, is that what they want?
Like, by that logic, does that make the Alien franchise woke then?
That's the thing. And that's the thing is like when people were saying that and I saw that, I'm like, hey, Sigourney Weaver says hi, guys. I mean, 1970, what? 980? It's like she's been, come on.
Linda Hamilton, like Sarah Connor.
What?
Sarah Connor.
Yeah, Sarah Connor and Ellen. Those two, both of them together, say hi. Where Dave?
I don't know. I think it's.
Sorry about that. I was just trying to.
When I think of
you saw you started talking, so you left. No.
I know.
Every time he leaves is when I'm talking. Thanks a lot.
I figured you guys were okay. I was like, I got to turn on some lights. That's all.
I think the most prime example of people crying about something being woke is like, the most recent phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You hear a certain specific SOB on the internet being like, MCU, and it's like, you idiot. Good Lord. I don't.
But that's the thing is like they found that audience and they're totally banking on that audience.
Well, they've been complaining. They've been complaining about that since Endgame. They're like, oh look, they killed off Tony Stark. They made Captain America some old geezer. Hulk is a joke. Who else? Thor is a clown. So it's like now they're like, all these female characters are coming up to replace
Thor
them.
is kind of a clown though.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so laughable. Like anyone who's saying that the She-Hulk thing is woke have no knowledge of the comics. Look,
that's the thing. Yeah.
This show, what we're seeing about the show is the classic She-Hulk of the old school comics, the comics that we love. If they were,
she would break the fourth wall.
If they were going woke, she would have been what people have called Ma'am Hulk, where for this bad, awful part of the period in the comics, she was basically Hulk with long hair.
Yeah, see, I mean, when it comes to She-Hulk, when I see people complain about that, I'm like, you're aware this is like a thing that's been around for a while, right? I mean, when I watch the stuff, it doesn't interest me. Not even the comic books. What interests me, it's good. Thank God Daredevil's in it, because that's where I'm like, hey, at least there's that. And then they released the image of him today, which was cool. But at the same time, I mean, that's the thing that's kind of just like, okay, I want to say. Other than that, I'm not really liking it, but that's just me. But I'm not going like, oh, why does there need to be a She-Hulk? What the hell's going on? It's like, well, that's been around for a bit, if you notice. So it's like, it's not like it's the whole me, she, you thing. Even like the Mighty Thor thing with Jane, even though I did not like Love and Thunder, I thought it was just, ugh, you know. But at the same time, I'm like, that still is something that happened in the books.
Yeah, and I will say, in all these instances where, look, well, I think some people, their complaints are the fact that they're stiff, they're like, oh boy, it's kind of understandable, because a lot of times the comics that they're from were not the best. Like Lady Hulk, Lady Thor comics was pretty kind of radical finish, but she's much better in this in the Marvel is much better than she is, and she certainly is getting back to classic She-Hulk that we love, down to the fact that she breaks the fourth wall. Which the moment she did that, I was like, "This is going to be great. This is going to be great." Everything.
Hopefully it is. I mean, the VFX is a little wonky, but hey, what can you do? Hey, we got Carrie joining right now. What's up, buddy?
Hey,
What's
going on?
Running.
He got summoned. We were talking about the MCU, and Carrie got summoned to come defend it.
Yeah. So I'm sitting in my furniture-less apartment as I moved in the other day, and starting on a new job on Monday. I am in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, you're in Ohio now. Holy
I'm
shit.
in Ohio now. Yep.
Wow. Because you were. I mean, obviously, you were like, your parents live in Colorado, right?
Yeah, they retired and moved out there about 10 years ago, but I'm from California originally. And
yeah.
I was in Sacramento this last year.
Nice. And then now you're in Ohio. Wow. Jeez.
I was starting a new job. So I actually had a comment on the whole DCEU reboot thing. If I can chime in.
Go for it.
Please.
So something that's part of I feel like a lot of people, and I haven't seen anyone bring this up yet. Here's the issue with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers Discovery now, but Warner Brothers trying to reboot their DCEU. They have to not only make the plan, but they really have to consider the long game, and they really have to be like patient with the results, which is something that historically Warner Brothers has shown they're unwilling to do. You know, with Zaslav and his team now, maybe their reactions will be different, but maybe the shareholders won't. So like, they've only gotten they see how each reaction to each individual film is, and then they overreact and they pivot, and they readjust, like that. Whereas look at how Marvel paced themselves. They started development on Iron Man in 2005, right? And even though they were, playing, even though that was a gamble, they were still in the mindset of this is going to be the start of our cinematic universe. They could have just made individual film franchises with Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, and Thor and everything, but they said from the get-go when they saw that Iron Man was successful, no, we're going to start building towards the Avengers and start to create a cinematic universe and do something that no one else has done with superheroes before. So, but when do we see the payoff of that gamble? Not until 2012. When the Avengers comes out, because with Captain America: First Avenger and Thor being modest successes, the Incredible Hulk kind of being a bit of a bomb at the box office, or at least certainly not the success they were wanting to have to be anchored the universe. Both Iron Man films were successful financially, very strong. But you think about that, that's a 7-year period, 2005 to 2012. I don't think it's. Personally, I don't think Warner Brothers has that kind of patience to play the long game. So I think it would be to their benefit. And I know it's always a debate of what do you do? Do you just reboot, or do you sort of restore the Snyderverse? Or how do you resolve it? I would say, bring back Cavill, see if you can make an offer to Ben that is appealing to him creatively and otherwise. And bring back Zach in some capacity, finish that saga, allow those individual characters to wrap up their stories and the team to wrap up their story. And then you've bought yourself time to say, if we want to reboot this whole thing after Zach's Justice League saga, how do we do that? And then you've given yourself time to start planning and start writing scripts and preparing, stories and a roadmap for yourself, to do that. So that way, the moment that, let's just say Justice League 3, let's just call it that, the moment Justice League 3 ends, then they can say, okay, next year you're getting a rebooted universe, and these are the cast, and these are the directors. So you can keep the momentum going, even if you're doing a complete reboot. But at least you finished, as William was mentioning earlier. I was listening. As William mentioned earlier, then you get to finish telling your story. You get to pay off the audience investments and the investment from the fans, and then you're able to start fresh without losing any ground. If you cut the cord now or within the next year, and say we're rebooting, you're not going to see another, part of a cinematic universe movie for anywhere 3 to 5 years. So, are you willing to wait that long? And are you willing to say, even if the first 1 or 2 are just okay financially at the box office and okay critical reception, are you going to stick to your plan? And in my opinion, Warner Brothers doesn't have that proven track record. So
They don't.
That's the thing. I would not suggest them doing that if it were me.
And that's the thing is the struggle they have right now is the fact that the old regime really effed things up, because if they would have just let Zach do his thing, we already would have been past that, and they could have either rebooted already, or they could have capitalized on it and be like, all right, how can we take this further? But then again, Zach had a pretty big fucking story when it came to what he was wanting to do, when it came to Darkseid and this invasion of Earth and all this stuff, and having 2 timelines. He had this big gigantic story, and they could have already going back to what William said, resolved it, and they're like, all right, we're gonna do now a different thing and see what happens and blah blah blah. They could have maybe continued. Maybe there was things that would have been that Zach would have laid out for continuing story after that. Maybe, but he was very much laying a foundation and then telling his story that was going to be big. Then he's like, hey, anybody wants to do a solo thing? Go for it. I'm laying the foundation. But of course they fucked that up. And now Warner Brothers Discovery is now cleaning up that mess, because they were trying to divert it and then, greenlighting everything, anything that was coming across the table. And that's why, and then, obviously we feel bad for Batgirl and the cast and crew and stuff like that. And it's just we had a lot of blame is that old regime. So,
and I just hope there's someone on Zaslav's crew that, when they discuss if they've discussed which they probably have, hey, what if we just reboot and start from scratch? Someone says to him, it's okay, look, we can do that. You're not going to see the real payoff to that anywhere between 5 to 10 years from the time we start production, and are you willing to wait that long? Are you willing to wait it out like that? If the answer is yes, then go forward. If the answer is no, we need to hit the ground running on stuff now, then you go with what you have and you try to rejigger some of the stuff that you've had already had in place and maybe have put on the sidelines. So.
I mean, people are impatient enough as it is for good DC content, so I'm going to guess the answer is no. So they do have to.
Yep. So that's just my take on that.
No, it makes sense, and it's just hopefully when it comes to all this, it's hey, I mean, the hot commodities, the names that get thrown out there a lot is Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, and it's all right, if you're gonna continue on, and maybe they'll work something out. It's obviously Cavill would be in for another decade or so. Affleck, I don't know how long does he want to go? But at the same time, it's does he? We got to conclude that story. If you want to conclude that story, maybe that's something that he would want to do.
The other thing I've wondered about too, specifically with Alan Horn, this realization, over the last few days is Alan Horn was there. He brought in Christopher Nolan to direct the Batman trilogy and do other stuff. He gave Ben Affleck his directorial shot.
Yeah.
He gave Ben Affleck the chance of doing so. Gone Baby Gone, The Town, and Argo were all done under Alan Horn's watch. So he's got to be looking at the previous leadership and be like, "What the hell did you do to my boy? Like, how did you drive him to drinking and him getting divorced? He was happy when I left him. Like he was happily married, loving his kids, loving this creative energy that he had, and you guys drove him down this horrible spot. Like he was just like, what the hell's wrong? Like, what did you do? Would be Alan Horn's.
What did you do? Yeah, I know.
I got something interesting that just entered my head. We were just talking just now about how Zach's arc has Batfleck, heroically die. And what did he say whenever he's talked about what visions he's making from, like the old storyboards, what the character is? He talked about how grows up. Who does he have filling in that void, keeping Gotham safe? Batgirl. Mm-hmm. So in a way, the door is open. If they were to restore the Snyderverse, there's the door open for Leslie Grace if she were so interested. If she were so inclined,
I doubt it.
Do it. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, though? Do you more likely that Zach would call up Leslie Grace and say, "Hey, would you be interested in our Batgirl?" Or do you see DC kind of saying like, "Hey, wait a little bit until we finally do reboot the DCU and then."
I think the wound is way too fresh to be calling up Leslie Grace right now and being like, "Hey, do you want to be Batgirl?" Like, no, she doesn't want to be Batgirl, and I really doubt that Adil El-Arbi and Bilal Falal want anything to do with WB at the moment too.
That's why they posted that Kevin Feige email.
Yeah,
when they posted that, I was like, "Oh, that's a message. That is a message, right?"
Well, because it's. I mean,
if they gave Leslie Grace and they said, "Would you like to work with Ben Affleck?" Or whichever director that he would want to bring in on his solo project. But I don't know.
Look, well, the new bosses at the studio that you were working at said your movie was shit. They said your movie was shit. That's why it's not going to come out, because they said it wasn't good. Now there's reports of how it tested, and it tested about the same as other movies. Maybe, do you guys really think the movie was that bad, or they're just saying that just to cover an excuse?
I don't think
so. I don't think that Black Adam was as bad as Batgirl. I mean, there's that Batgirl was that Ben Affleck, that Black Adam.
Someone's phone's ringing.
I think based on that one scene that got leaked with the scripted page attached to it.
Yeah,
I don't think that scene was very good. I really can't speak to the quality of the film itself because I have not seen it. I wasn't part of those test screenings, and the idea of that movie in general wasn't exactly my cup of tea. But regardless, it was a Batgirl movie. It had a solid casting choice for Batgirl. It sounded like it was going to take a lot of inspiration from the Burnside stuff, and I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a tough call because we can't really speak to the quality of something we haven't truly seen. And I for sure believe that film will get leaked. It's already had a leaked scene. It's already had, a photo shown from production with the director looking like a Batman villain. Like, no offense, but like that picture of him standing next to Leslie Grace and Keaton in the suit. He's in a white suit.
And he's in a white suit and he's taller than both of them.
I'm just like, which Batman villain are you trying to be right now?
You know what? Like when it comes to those two directors, I enjoyed Bad Boys for Life. I didn't think I was going to because I'm like, what? No, Michael Bay. Let's see what this is. And I walked out going, wow, these guys actually did a good job of doing a third Bad Boys movie after so many years. And I thought, okay, cool. And then when it came to Miss Marvel, I went, oh, this looks very CW. And then when I watched it, I was like, you know what? Jesus Christ. This is actually not too bad, and not too bad at all. I like their style. And even when they were saying stuff like, oh, yeah, the editing is going to be like Edgar Wright, fast-paced Edgar Wright, which I love. That's what I love about Edgar Wright is his quick, fast-paced style of editing. Even like a Guy Ritchie has that kind of fast-paced editing. I like that. So I don't, when it comes to the quality of it's a weird thing because this makes me want to see it more. I mean, obviously, and again, this is why I had that whole theory of like maybe is Zaslav and crew playing 4D chess and they're just doing this to like build up hype for free? Because if you just like tip off the media like, oh yeah, it's canceled, And then everybody starts like, we've been talking about it all week for fuck's sake, and it's trending. It's doing all the stuff. That's all free marketing. I wouldn't. I mean, what's to prevent them to be like, a couple weeks, few weeks from now, going, hey, all right, guys, we're gonna release it on HBO Max. Subscribe, and they get a giant spike because everybody's like, we gotta see this fucking movie now. Is it bad? Is it good? And we gotta support it, And it's just. I even said this last night that Marvel Studios has really tapped into using social media and YouTube for like marketing, because anytime that any YouTuber does a trailer reaction, you will never get an email saying there's a copyright thing for a Marvel reaction. Warner Brothers, though, all the time. You dispute it, sure, it clears up, but at the same time, that email should not be in your inbox, because it's like, why are you not utilizing the tools right now? Marvel and Disney understands this. They will not touch. If you do a reaction or commentary over a clip, they will not react to it because they know that is free marketing. So I'm like, that's why I had the theory of like, man, are they just like doing this to like build up stuff? Because look what happened with the release of Snyder Cut and stuff like that. I don't know. It's interesting.
On that note, Dave, if let's say that were to happen, that this is all publicity and that it's going to be on HBO Max and all this publicity got people to watch it, do you see any reshoots happening before they release it?
I mean, like, maybe, I don't know. Like it would depend. I mean, that's the thing. That's the question right there too, is like, if it doesn't fit their 10-year plan, and maybe it didn't, and I don't know. That is a good question, because
I mean, from what we heard, Keaton is actually only in the movie for a few scenes. So in theory, if they wanted to, if it was all about continuity, in theory, maybe they could reshoot those scenes with Ben Affleck, but I don't know.
Isn't it all pointless anyways? If they get the tax write-off, isn't that it?
That's the thing. That's the thing. That whole tax write-off thing is, I mean, it just seems like when they were crunching numbers, they figured out that, and I think I even saw like a headline today that said all the write-offs that they might get, it's gonna almost, it was like $825 million that they could write off, and I was like, wow. I mean, and from a business perspective, it's like, yeah, good on you guys for finding all that. But then of course you just go, it's kind of fucked up. But at the same time, it's like, who to blame? Is it them to blame for trying to clean up the mess, or is it the previous to blame because they really just started the mess and they were greenlighting everything? I mean, as much as we loved Jason Kylar for helping get the Snyder Cut out and doing all the stuff, and like, yeah, good job. But at the same time, it almost seems like he was just like on a rampage of like, you get that, go. We got to fill up this library, not looking at the bottom line. I mean, that's what's so crazy about this whole thing.
What's the timeline of this whole thing? When did the movies get announced, and then when was it announced that they were selling? That they were going to sell the company. When did this happen? Good
question. I hope Steven is actually working on an article right now.
Because it's like, okay, if you announce these movies and you know that you're going to get bought out and that there's a possibility that they could straight up cancel these movies.
Yeah.
That looks bad on you, because why are you doing this? Because it's like, if you announce the movies and then it's announced that you're going to get bought, and they're like, oh shit, it's already too late now. But hopefully they don't cancel the movies. But I'm curious about the timeline of this whole thing, because it sucks, dude. It sucks. You got your whole movie canceled because basically you're not part of the plan anymore.
I know.
As I said, we're gonna reset. We're gonna start. There's a new thing that's gonna be going on after I'm assuming after the Flash, because that's supposed to fix everything, right? I mean, after the Flash, you might not even have Ezra as the Flash anymore.
I know.
So how are they gonna do? What are they gonna do with that? We're gonna get a new Flash and a new actor to play the Flash, and then who's gonna stay? We're gonna have Jason as Aquaman, Gal as Wonder Woman. Is Ben gonna be Batman?
Yeah.
Is Henry gonna be Superman? What's gonna happen?
It's all so exciting, isn't it? It's so exciting.
By the way, I'm going back to
DC universe.
all these things were mentioned. Remember, I'm sure we all remember that behind picture of Batgirl looking at and grinning at a mask it obviously, like, that post, it was implying that there was with Affleck. I don't know if maybe was Affleck was going to be
Yeah, I don't know about.
higher up, just saying no, it's got to be Pete.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I think that was just like something where they were just like, "Hey, we're
No, they
here."
were like, "Hey, it's gonna be Affleck, right?" They're like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, I know. I mean, and you know, and we don't want to leave. I mean, that's obviously that was once a Geekosity headline, but you know, didn't quite work out. But hey, what can you do? There's a lot of headlines that don't work out. Again, that's why I was like, giant freaking robot. You guys are really passing around that. I'm like, have you seen some of the other headlines that they put out there?
It's telling
All
them
right.
what they want to. It's telling them what they want to hear. So they're gonna push that narrative.
Yeah.
But Jose, Mikey was right.
It wasn't even Mikey, and it wasn't even Mikey. It was Silk. Was the one with that scoop. Hey, you know what? Like I said, credit where credit is due. If you get one scoop right, congratulations. You still got a couple other ones you didn't get right,
Yeah,
though.
but acknowledge when you're wrong, please.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
You know,
thing.
I'm still waiting for them to announce Man of Steel 2. I thought that was supposed to happen around.
Don't be the
Comic-Con.
male. Don't be a male Grace Randolph. Okay.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well,
So glad now that everyone here is finally coming to my side on Grace.
Speaking of Grace, because we haven't done, this is the first Patreon stream since. What the hell was that meltdown that she had on Twitter?
Dude, I can tell you what that meltdown
All I
was.
saw was screenshots because I'm blocked, so I had to see the screenshots.
Dude, that meltdown was her basically having a bitch fit, basically saying, "I'm mad I didn't get this scoop first, so I'm gonna have a giant whiz fit about it." And that's all that tweet. That's all that tweet chain was her just having a giant fucking cry fest about.
You Snyder fans are getting played. I'm like, holy shit, dude. What the hell? Like, relax. Like, we can't just be excited.
My theory about it is this. Okay, so, when it comes to this whole thing, it's like, well, not really a theory, but this is the way I look at it. It's like, I understand that she has been dogpiled by Snyder fans big time, and that is out there. That has definitely been there. That has been a thing. And so she, and a lot of people, even like the people, the Rolling Stone, Tatiana, what's her name, has been dogpiled. People have been dogpiled by that. So from their perspective, they're just like reacting emotionally. And that's what Grace did. Like when it comes to all this kind of stuff, when she had that meltdown, it was like, oh man. So like she like it really got under her skin. And and it's not like she's wrong or anything like that, because like at the same time it's like, oh yeah, you've been dogpiled, you've had, but it's like, but you have this platform, you have this audience, you need to be a little more professional when you're doing this. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop it. Like, stop doing that. I mean, and the fact of the matter is like her sources are drying up because Warner Brothers Discovery, I mean, Zaslav is like going, hey, we're not gonna let's clean up this mess that was there. Let's not get it where like stuff gets leaked out, and then the people that she had sources with either lost their jobs already or they're going to lose their jobs. So she's probably also upset about that, as well as some of the other people who are scoopers too. So, but
she hasn't exploded this much since Jessica Chastain.
What was that?
Huh?
She hasn't exploded this much since Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, she had like a real hate boner for Jessica Chastain, huh?
It's weird, super weird. I don't get that at all.
And Henry Cavill, I never understood what he had.
Yeah, everything's always that he's difficult to work with. I don't know who's telling her that, because nobody's mentioned anything about that in the press, about Henry being difficult to work with.
Every single person who's ever worked with Henry Cavill, like whenever they talk about it on record, it's always he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's a PC gamer.
Yeah, how bad of a guy can he be? I know. I love it how like his first Instagram post was like showing his computer. It's like, really, after all this hype that we had for like the past like couple of weeks with Comic-Con, he posts on Instagram.
What's funny? What's funny? Because Henry, he has a sense of humor, so he probably knew. He knew, get people's attention. Like, wait a minute, dude, this is not what we want to hear about. We want to hear about Comic-Con. Fuck your computer.
Yeah. But he was just like, you know what? I'm going to post about that. And I'm sure I didn't look, but I'm sure there's a bunch of comments underneath those pictures of that are like, dude, are you coming back? You coming back as Superman? Okay. So, well, I think I wanted to ask you guys too, is like when it comes to Dwayne Johnson, like, what are your guys' thoughts when it comes to Dwayne Johnson now? Like, I mean, obviously Super Pets came out and it didn't do that well. And it just kind of shows you like, hey, all right, now these studios, another wake-up call of like, stop paying these, to get this ridiculous voice talent. I mean, Dwayne Johnson paying him $22 million to voice a dog. I mean, this is it's not as bad as Vin Diesel getting paid a shit ton of money to just say I am Groot. I'm just kind of going like, all right, if you're gonna start like saving some money, studios, can you stop it with like just backing up a dump truck in front of some high profile celebrity to voice a character when it's not gonna put butts in the seats, please?
I will say this. The only reason I was even considering going to see Super Pets was The Rock and Kevin Hart. But then, when I heard that Keanu Reeves was Batman, I was like, well, that's more of a reason. But still, other than that, it's like just looking at it, it's like, oh, it's a kiddie film. It's like it's not, and it's trying and not succeeding to be.
They spend more money on the
movie. It's actually a good story. That's what's sad about it. It's actually a good story.
I'm pretty sure they spent more money on the cast than they did on the marketing.
They did. Probably. Hey, look at this. We got Mr. Jason McKenzie showing up today. What is up, sir?
Jason, the main man.
Hey, folks. How's it going?
Hey. We're just talking. We're talking some Super Pets right now, man. How you doing?
Hey, man. Hey, guys. I've been watching, man. I've been watching.
Yeah, I saw you in the chat. How you doing?
You know what? I haven't actually seen Super Pets yet.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. You can wait for it to come out on video. It's fine. Like I was even saying it like it's a good movie. It is, but the whole time I'm going, I don't want to hear Dwayne Johnson coming out of Crypto's mouth. I'm like, if we would have had somebody else. What's up?
You know what, Dave? I mean, to be honest, like all I want to see it for is just for Keanu Reeves voicing one of the characters, man.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is hilarious. That's the thing.
Man. It's fucking gold, man.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that it's like when that's what sold me on it. I was kind of iffy on it, but then when I was like, wait, Keanu Reeves is playing Batman, I kind of like that. And then when you watch the movie, like everything that comes out of his mouth is hilarious. Like it's funny and it just works.
The best part of the
I just had to close the actual stream because I had like other people talking over, and I just realized, hey, I still got the stream going in another tab. It's all good now. It's all good.
It's all good. What were we gonna say, Eric?
It's just that the best part of the single best part of the Super Pets marketing was that scene between and Kevin Hart's dog.
Yeah, where they had, and that's in the movie where they talk about like and it's a great scene. And again, I mean, like, I think it was even in one of the trailers too. Like one of the first things that he says, he goes, "I miss my parents." It's just stuff like that. It's hilarious. Like, and there's other ridiculous things that he says too, like in the movie, and it sucks because again, it seems like the story was pretty well thought out. But then, of course, they screwed it up by like, hey, we have to get a bunch of big names and we got to do this and spend half the budget on their salaries. And I'm like, all they had to do was just get some good voice talent and just put it out there and hope for the best. And then maybe it would have been something. But, the fact that it's just like people are just kind of waking up to the fact that like, yeah, Dwayne Johnson's cool and all, but I don't want to see everything and drink everything and eat everything that you're promoting, dude. I'm sorry,
No,
man, I can't believe. Sorry,
we're all talking over each other.
Let Jason talk. He hasn't been here all day.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
I mean, seriously, like for real, like Dwayne Johnson got paid like how much?
22 million.
22 million. Come on, what the fuck, man?
For Super Pets?
Yes. Yes.
Are you fucking serious?
Variety posted that he got paid $22 million for Super, and not to mention his company, $7 Productions, whatever, produced it, and they got a piece of the pie too. So you're talking about just like you're talking about a shit ton already, just going to him and his production company.
I mean, it's just his voice, right? Okay,
Yeah.
because like, I mean, that's more than what most AAA actors get paid for doing an actual live action part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
Let me ask, does anyone know how much was he paid for playing Maui in Moana?
No, I don't know.
I'm sure it was a lot, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it was and that's the thing is like, and I think what I mean, from what I gathered too, I mean, even though with all the craziness that happened this week when it came to Warner Brothers Discovery, it almost seems like Zaslav is going, all right, it's getting out of hand. It really is getting out of hand with some salaries and everything. And then now we have streaming, which I don't think, again, and I'm going to back this up. And I said this last night, and I maybe said it on Film Junkie Live too, is like, these studios were not ready for the streaming wars and all the streaming, because it's like, it just seems like, you got Netflix is like the cash flow problem. Same thing with Warner Brothers. I mean, it seems like the streaming services, which streaming service is still, doing like well with numbers, and how do we know if they're telling the truth? I don't know. It's all very fucking weird, but I don't think they were ready for it, because it was leading into it. Like, we were still about 5, maybe 7 years off before like the streaming wars were going to get pretty hefty, but then COVID came and just fucking put it up to the forefront, and nobody knew exactly what to do and how to handle it. And from what I gather, just talking with people that are in the business, it's just like, oh yeah, so that service is it is losing money. That service is losing money. It's all not, they just didn't think it out. That's why Jason Kyler was like, fuck it, let's do day and date. Let's see what happens. And he's just one of those guys that's just like, he's a quick draw, gunslinger. Let's do this. I'm an entrepreneur. I know, and for the most part, did it work a little bit? Yeah, maybe. But then for the most part, bottom line, didn't. And now they're cleaning up the mess for it. But yeah, I think just these studios were not ready for the streaming fucking craziness.
Well, one wonders, I can't help wondering though, if it would have worked a whole lot better if he had kept, his original instead of shelving all of that and to Emmerich.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's all crazy. But Jacob, you've been quiet. What are your thoughts?
I'm on the side of let's pay voice actors to because
that's dead, dude. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much good voice talent out there. You don't have to get these big fucking names, I mean, it just seems crazy.
It really is. I mean, and I know they try to sell it on that, but it's at the same time, it's like, I remember like the first time, like one of the very first times that they got a big name to voice something in animation was Robin Williams in Aladdin as the genie. And I remember even hearing a story that Robin Williams did not want, he was like, no, don't put my name on the poster. Don't even mention, try to mention in the marketing that it's not me, because he didn't want to take away from the other voice talent that were not names. And he's like, no, don't even mention. And that's how great, warms my heart, because Robin Williams was just such a fucking good dude when you hear stories about Robin Williams, you always hear he's like one of the greatest dudes in the world, and it sucks what happened. May he rest in peace. But it just kind of shows you, it's like, all right, that's where it kind of started, because then all of a sudden it's like in the 90s, that's where it was like, oh yeah, we got to get this voice down. And mind you, yes, I get it. Like Toy Story, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, that worked very well. Sure, it did. There's times that it does work, but it seems like nowadays, now that we're 20 something years later, 30 years later, it's like, now it's time to just go, no, stop doing, it's not working anymore. We had arguably one of the biggest movie stars that was the lead of this animation, and it didn't put butts in the seats. And it was literally the whole Justice League was in there, Superman, all this stuff, and it didn't put butts in the seats. So it's like, hopefully Zaslav is looking at that going like, okay, if we do another animation thing, don't hire these big names anymore. We have to pay ridiculous salaries. Just fucking get some voice talent that could probably do better, and we can market it better. I don't know. Hopefully that's what they're looking at, because Super Pets was good, but my biggest gripe was the fact that I'm like, I hate that I'm hearing Dwayne Johnson's voice out of Crypto. That was my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
Again, this is probably another example of how like David and I are looking at movies from the opposite perspective. I really, like I said, the fact that the Rock was that got my curiosity. Now, granted, it was Keanu Reeves that got my attention, but yeah, I mean, I would not have given a crap about Super Pet until I heard that. Oh wait, The Rock is voicing. Oh wow, oh that's interesting. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, but did you see it? You didn't go out and see it though. You were curious, but you didn't go out and see it. It wasn't enough.
I haven't seen it. So.
Yeah.
I still haven't.
Like, even though it triggered something in your brain, it wasn't enough for you to actually go buy a ticket and go see it. That's the thing. It's like,
I mean, I didn't even have any streaming for sure, but you know,
yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for why others might not have gone and seen it, but at this point, I'm only really, in terms of animation in theaters, the only things I'm really interested in are Pixar animated and the occasional, DreamWorks thing. If it's, like I'm trying to think of an example of like, the Shrek films or something like that. And that's just me and my personal interest where I'm like, I got other DC content I'm more interested in, other than Super Pets. And so an animated Super Pet, I'm more interested, although my enthusiasm is sort of the same it is for other. I mean, like, I would be more excited about if they made a better push for all their DC animated movies. Like they got Green Lantern, Beware My Power coming up. I would be more interested in going to the theater to see that if given the opportunity than I would Super Pets. But that's just me personally.
You know what's interesting though, Carrie, when you're saying that, I actually watched Chris Stuckman's review of Super Pets yesterday. And it was funny because the first thing that he said, and he made it sound like, like he goes, yeah, he made it sound like it was like, I have no interest in seeing this movie at all. And then he went, I was pleasantly surprised walking out because I went in going, this is just, what is this going to be? I like the marketing wasn't there. And then he walked out going, wow, I actually really enjoyed that movie. And I went, yeah, the marketing was terrible because I don't know, maybe it's part of the transition and what's happening. There's a lot of things that just went really bad when it came to this. But then again, at the same time, it's like he didn't mention, he mentioned the names, but at the same time, I'm like kind of going like, all I'm saying when it comes to the names is like, stop paying these ridiculous salaries for the names, and then you can cut your budgets down. And I think Zaslav is seeing that, and hopefully hopefully a lot of studios take suit because it's like it gets ridiculous. But at the same time, it's just like there's something that really got messed up when it came to the Super Pets marketing, because when you have somebody, a big YouTuber, reviewer going, yeah, I walked in going, this is going to be something stupid. It's in what, like you said, Carrie, it's not Pixar. It's not DreamWorks. It's like, what is this? And then he walked out going, wow, that story was actually really good.
Like, what is Warner Brothers? I mean, again, I'm not a marketing person. I've done for Warner Brothers part of it. Like, where do they market content that's meant for kids or families? Like, I don't know what platform they have, like Cartoon Network. Okay, so were they putting trailers on Cartoon Network for Super Pets? Like, or were they putting it on? I mean, you don't see. Is there anything in like the animated section of HBO Max that has like a blurb on the margin saying something about Super Pets or anything like that, or a deal with Roku devices or something like that, just like have little ads? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just like, it just seems to me like the marketing wasn't there at all. Whereas I saw a ton of trailers or snippets and things all over the place for like Lightyear.
It's just DC being cursed like it's always been. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Even an animated movie.
The animated movies like Green Lantern, Beware My Power. Who knows about that movie actually? Like who?
I know, right? They never.
I think it's already out.
It's already out here.
Yeah, it's out.
There you go.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it right there.
But like,
they had a panel for it at Comic-Con and a premiere for it. So
9 times out of 10, they usually have an animated movie premiere at Comic-Con for Warner Brothers DC.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. While we're talking about a curse, I mean, look, in this case, the only reason that it's under a curse right now is because they dropped the ball on Zack Snyder when they had him, and David Ayer. Just
That's true, but also remember, not everyone in the world is a Zack Snyder fan. They don't
Exactly.
they're not a fan of these movies. They don't want to see it continue. They'll be like they'll riot if it continues. It's like we'll riot if it doesn't continue. So it's like
It is
DC fans
interesting.
are always gonna be bumping heads when it comes to this
Yeah,
stuff.
it is interesting when like people go like, "Who's your Batman?" and people will be like, "Christian Bale." You know, it's like, oh, because that's the
Still me.
last one.
That's still me.
Yeah. But I mean, but you're within this universe, Carrie. They don't really realize. They're just like, oh yeah, Ben Affleck was like in a Batman in some movie that I probably didn't even see or something like that. I don't know. But that's what's funny about it is like people will look at like Christian Bale as like their Batman. When that was like that was a decade ago almost, where like he was the last time that he was Batman, and then maybe people will now, obviously when it came to the Batman and Robert Pattinson, maybe they'll start saying that. But it's just like it's interesting because within this world, and even like I mean, I guess it's like it's expanded too, but if you were to ask somebody like, hey, what's your favorite Batman, would they actually say Ben Affleck? Or would they say Christian Bale or Michael Keaton? It almost seems like those are always like there. But then at the same time, there's like this huge group that goes, fucking Ben Affleck, man. I mean, look at him. Look at that suit. That suit's the best suit. And we all agree with that. It's such a weird thing because
look at what happened. Look what happened with the announcement of Affleck coming back. There was so many people, so many check marks. But what were a lot of people saying? Like they've been saying since 2016. I love Ben. I love Ben as Batman. He's perfect. He just needs better material. He just needs a better script. He just needs this. Like this and that.
That shit. It's like Ben Affleck brought in Chris Terrio to write that fucking script, guys. Come on,
right?
And they don't care because all they focus on is Martha, and that's it. That's all they ever have.
What were you gonna say, Jason? Jason, what were you gonna say?
I mean, for the most part, you could say that for this generation, most people are going to say, Ben Affleck, because you're talking people that aren't familiar with, with Keaton's Batman and with even with George Clooney and so on. So most people in this generation, of course, are going to say Ben Affleck is their Batman,
Yeah. It's just a weird thing because, like, I don't know. What were you gonna say, Eric? Sorry.
Considering how you're bringing up Christian Bale, again, when I was talking about dropping the ball with Zach, if you wind the clocks back, even like before BVS, the whole reason Zach was brought on was they wanted him to do for Superman what Christopher Nolan did for Batman. And if they had just gone through with that original plan, and if it had been, a Superman franchise, instead of looking over at Marvel and wanting dollars, then I'm sure we would have people would have been a lot more satisfied sooner.
Yeah, it's all crazy. What are you eating, Jacob?
Chocolate covered strawberry.
Okay,
that looks delicious.
This is why I was
He's been going to town on that stuff, and I'm like, what is that?
This is why I was so quiet for so long.
Dude, those are for tennis shade. What are you doing?
This is like the sacrifices you make when you're engaged, right?
You're making me
want
to
pizza. This is like the last
sacrifice
during this stream. This is the last box, and there's like 4 more left. I just had 3 of them, and then I had to ask my fiance, "Do you want the last one?" And then she just kept saying, "No, you're
score, man."
I think what are they called? Those gigantic like strawberries dipped in chocolate. What are those called again? What's the brand?
Edible arrangements.
Oh,
nice.
I think at least the one I go to. Yeah.
When the hell did you get engaged, Jacob? When did you get engaged?
It's been a while. Maybe
it's been a while, okay? Because sometimes you've told me that, like, some
a long-term thing, man.
Well, congrats.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah. That I figured it was a ruse.
No.
Anyway,
that's another story I'll have to go into sometime.
Anyway, shut up, Jacob.
I was making a point, and then suddenly Dave interrupted me to talk about strawberries dipped in chocolate.
Huh?
Anyway,
I don't know what you said, but
what?
I was talking about how, like, when Dave brought up Christian Bale's Batman. Look, if we go back to my point about dropping the ball on Zack Snyder, look, the whole reason that Zack Snyder was brought on was was so that because Nolan said that Zack could do for Superman what he was Nolan for Batman. And if they had just done that instead of looking at Avengers and going, "Oh, I want Avengers money. Let's do a Justice League." If they had just let Zack do Superman, then I'm sure people would have come around to that a lot sooner.
No, yeah, well, we heard that. It was just, yeah. I mean, I get that. Like, again, your mic and your internet's been cutting in and out a little bit, Eric. That's the bad part about like that. That's why I like diverted to wondering what Jacob was actually eating right there. No, we got that. And like, yeah, we've talked about that. It's the fact that it's like, yeah, if you would have just let him do his thing, it would have been done already, and they could have either hit the reboot button or built off what he already created, which honestly, like, it just always depends on what works, obviously. And sadly, when they look at like things like, oh yeah, did it make $1 billion? Now that's like the mark. Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that? Whoa, easy there. Anybody with earbuds? Are you okay? Your eardrums ringing now? Jeez,
I'm good. I'm gonna order a pizza.
You're gonna order a pizza?
I'm gonna order a fucking pizza, man. I'm hungry.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, you know what I did today? I was like, fuck it, and Jose is gonna like this because I was like, I haven't been to Taco Bell in a couple of months, and I was like,
Dude, I have Taco Bell on the way right now.
I'm sure you did. I know you love your Taco Bell. I mean, that's the thing. Is like I went to Taco Bell because I heard they had like these new cheddar like stuff, like whatever the fuck, and of course the one that's in my town is awful because it's shit. And I get there and there's like a sold out sign for all the new products. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Have they restocked on Mexican pizzas yet?
No, they were sold out. Oh. Totally sold out. And I was like, damn. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get that, and that, And I was like, all right, I'm gonna have something right now, and then I have stuff for later. When I get
Colorado, like 3 weeks ago, when I went to a Taco Bell and I asked them about that, they're like every single store was not ready for the outpouring of people wanting the Mexican pizza, and I was like, you clearly don't understand why you haven't had loyal customers for a while.
Sorry, Eric.
How are they?
The Mexican pizzas.
I've never had one.
Carrie, how are they?
I like it. I think they're good.
I never had one either. So, what were we gonna say, Jason?
So, I've never tried Taco Bell, and the thing is, I don't know how popular it is in New Zealand here, but we actually have one here now in our hometown, and nice. I still haven't tried it yet. So, is it good or is it bad?
It's good, but it's just bad food. It's not good for you, obviously, but it's good. I don't know. When I had it today, I hadn't had it in a couple months, but there's something about their fire sauce mixed in with just having like I got the beefy, 5-layer burrito. There's something, I love that thing. I got a chicken quesadilla also, and it's just it's good, but at the same time, you're hating yourself as you eat it.
Like, I have to try it at least once, right?
It's the McDonald's equivalent of cheeseburgers when there's like In-N-Out available somewhere else. So
yeah,
it may or may not be real meat, but it tastes good.
Yeah, exactly.
Real meat.
But I nearly always get the cheesy bean and rice burrito. It's great for great stuff. And if it's on Tuesdays, I get tacos.
Yeah. And I love the fact that they kept the whatchamacallit tacos that are like wrapped up in Doritos chips or whatever, the shell. The Doritos Locos tacos. I love those. Those are great, and I'm glad they kept them. But but there's always things like the grilled cheese burrito. Man, we're going off on a tangent of Taco Bell fucking food right now.
Restore the Taco Bell.
I know, right? Hungry. But like there'll be things that they don't have. I'll like show up and I'm like, I haven't been here in like over a month, and then I'm like, oh, they don't have that anymore. What the hell, And I remember when they had a grilled cheese burrito. Fucking awesome. Literally, you have 4 cheeses in the burrito, and then there's a layer of cheese that they grill outside the burrito. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That sounds good.
Oh, it's delicious.
They fry it, and then they put sprinkles on it. And
it was so good. But then they like got rid of it, and then they brought it back for a moment, and then they got rid of it again. I'm like, why? Like, does it really take I mean, you guys have cheese all over the place. Does it really cost that much money to add more cheese to something? I don't know. It's all crazy, but
All right, let's go back to DC for a little bit. I got a question for you.
But I
For all
haven't
you
ordered my
guys.
pizza yet.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, going off of what all of going off of what Zaslav said, realistically, when do you think we could maybe get word or an indication that they're working on another Justice League movie?
I don't think anything's going to get announced until after the Flash movie, man. Like,
Yep.
seriously, like,
I think Jason's right. Jason's
I
right.
think I'm
After
with Jason
that.
on that one. Ain't nothing
Yeah.
happening until after the Flash.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's
getting-
not that. I mean, that's not that far along. You guys, I was thinking it was going to take longer than that. I don't think they should focus on Justice League at all right now for many years until they figure out what
you're
it is
not
exactly
going
they're
to
trying
see
to
any
do.
Justice League stuff for quite a long time. But I think,
Right.
to be honest,
Yeah.
If we are, it's going to be Zach's. If they're, it would mean that they talked with Zach. If they haven't, they haven't.
It doesn't necessarily have to be with Zach. It could be somebody else.
Well,
Yeah.
if
I
they
mean-
only do it sooner than several years from now, it means that they.
Yeah, but even if it was sent something with Zach, it wouldn't be till 5+ years, anyways. But what were we gonna say, Phil? What are we gonna say?
I was
Phil?
going to say, if you can't get Zack Snyder, give the job to David F. Sandberg or Andy Muschietti. I'd take either one of them. They know how to
I was
handle
going to say it's really going to
Muschietti.
depend on how
Muschietti,
well
yeah.
Yeah.
the Flash does. Because if the Flash is like a hit, and I mean like, crossing, 700 million at the box office, regardless of what people, whatever's going on with Ezra, if it's a box office success and people and it gets well received critically too, and the fans are embracing of it for the other than the Snyder fans that just want to hit everything not rated, if it's a strong enough of a success, then I could see them reaching out to Andy Muschietti and say, hey, how would you feel about trying to usher in another Justice League movie? If not a Flash direct sequel, but who knows? Then again, who knows how he went through such a rigor. This movie went through so many revisions, even with him being on it. Maybe he doesn't want to do
True.
much for a while after that. I don't know.
And honestly, as much as the radical Snyder fans who are leading on Flash, as much as they like to whine about I think the truth is the success of the Flash would increase our chances of getting more of Snyder's stuff.
It's the most Snyderverse movie. That's the thing. It's a lot of people when it comes to the future movies like Black Adam, Shazam, and Aquaman. I mean, Aquaman's going to now have a level of Snyderverse in it with Affleck, but the Flash, you're probably going to see literal scenes from one of the previous movies. We've already kind of heard that kind of stuff, and it's just that's why I don't understand when people are hating on it so much. I'm like, this is going to be the most Snyderverse type movie, and it's not going to erase anything. It's just going to take it to another trajectory. How does the multiverse work? Well, guess what? You do something, and then it just boo, and then all of a sudden a new timelines form, and blah blah blah.
I think that whole new timeline thing has really been the crux of the whole. I mean, there's the Ray Fisher stuff, but the crux of it really has been even if they don't erase the Snyderverse, they're going to the plan that Hamada and Emmerich had. It seems was basically just going to leave it on the side and leave it in limbo and say our main universe going forward is going to be one where Michael Keaton's the main Batman. We're not going to have a Superman, a Supergirl. And all these other things aspect, Cyborg's not even going to probably be a character in this universe, or at least we're just not going to directly address it, so they were it was the fact that they were going to go forward with that version of the universe, even if the Snyderverse was just sitting on the side here. They never, Hamada and Emmerich were never going to touch it again. And they were just trying to completely move away from it. So I think it was more the issue of I don't want that universe. A lot of us were I don't want the Snyderverse left in stasis, left in limbo, and then invest all our time and energy in this new universe. So, I mean, that's sort of my guess is even circling back to the whole Batgirl thing is I think my guess is that Zaslav and the crew looked at what Hamada's and Emmerich's plans were why would people want to invest in this brand new universe when you got one that it doesn't take a lot to rejigger and get momentum going behind it again. And we don't want Michael Keaton as our main continuity Batman going forward. And Batgirl seemed to be the first one that was really showing that true, that development of that universe, going forward. But the other was
the Flash it makes sense, but Batgirl it doesn't. And again, Batgirl was supposed to fit in a very little tight window, and it just now it's all effed up, and it kind of fucked the whole thing up. If they still kept with the same release dates, if Flash was still coming out this November, and then right after that Batgirl was going to come out, maybe they would have been like, all right, HBO Max, it's still going to come out, we're good, please watch it, blah blah blah. The fact that everything got all messed up, it just really screwed things up because, it's just that.
I think what they need to focus on is because since this is a new regime, the old regime is gone. The old regime that fucking hated Zack and couldn't stand him. I don't know if they hated Zack more or his fans more. I don't know. That's debatable. But they just need to respect the Zack's universe, his world that he created, he built, and just continue it and show us that they can do it without even needing Zack. That Zack doesn't have to be there to direct all these movies. Give me a Superman movie that's directed by somebody else other than Zack, and show me that you can pull it off. Because that's what they need to do. They can't have Zack come back and do every single thing these hardcore Snyder fans want. That's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. So continue this universe, respect the characters that have already been established by Zack and his movies, and show that you can do it without Zack. You don't need Zack, but you can still do a successful, good movie.
Yeah.
And
I mean, back would be just to do Justice League 2 3.
Forget the fucking Justice League movies. That shit is not happening for a long time. Just give me a Batman movie. Give me a Superman movie. Give me another Man of Steel movie.
Give me a team up movie with the Flash and Green Lantern.
Give me a Green Lantern movie. Give me that stuff.
Oh, dude! Oh man, can you imagine? Say they see the potential in Affleck and Cavill. It's like, hey, just do like the world's finest movie and see what fucking happens. You announce that shit that you're gonna have like a Batman and Superman movie with Cavill and Ben Affleck because it's just like they worked out something. And it's like, hey, we're gonna do that. You know how big that would blow up the fucking internet, and it's like, oh my god. But Jason, you were gonna say something?
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, right? So like with what Zack created with what he did with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, etc. I mean, when you think about how groundbreaking it was and how dark and gritty and grounded it was, like when you think about it, what other studio or director has actually done something like that? He's kind of like a pioneer in a way, you know what I mean? So no, he doesn't have to be directly attached to any continuation with Snyderverse and so on, but like, if somebody was able to like just take with what he built and just keep running with it, I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just such magic that for it to completely die and just not be continued on with in whatever way or whatever, it's kind of heartbreaking. I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking too that we're not gonna we haven't seen any more Green Lantern stuff. I mean, we're not going to get that Green Lantern series, I guess, whatever.
Oh no,
cartoon.
No.
I mean, but in a perfect world, if Zack had been able to continue on with his story arc exactly the way it was with the next two Justice Leagues, it's very likely that we may have actually been able to see Wayne T. Carr in an actual Green Lantern movie.
Right. And I think even Eric brought this up earlier, and I know Stephen Colbert said it on the Vodka stream before. It's like if they just made more Superman movies with Henry Cavill and kept relatively a similar tone to what was in Man of Steel, then, or continued some version of the character's arc, then a lot of folks, I mean, and would have, who are pushing for the Snyder cut, even probably would have lost the enthusiasm for it, and that might have even been me, because I'm like, well, my investment in Zack's movies and in the DCU in the first place all comes from Henry Cavill and from Man of Steel. It all stems from that. I love BVS, but most important to me has always been seeing more stories with Cavill. Like I remember walking out of Man of Steel going, I want Zack and crew and Warner Brothers to make to treat Superman with the same reverence that Nolan did with Batman. I want that self-contained Man of Steel trilogy. That's what I was anticipating most and excited about walking out of Man of Steel. Zach gave us something far bigger than that, which is great, and I was all for it. But there's that half of me that says, well, I never got the fulfillment of what I was really, of seeing a modern day Superman story given a trilogy, in this that touched on a lot of notes from the mythology in the same way that Nolan and Bale did with Batman. So, there's that part of it is still unresolved for me. So if the new, it doesn't have to be Zach for sure, but you can get other directors. I mean, again, I don't whether he would agree to do it or not is another question. But Christopher McQuarrie, obviously, at one point wanted to do it. There's other directors that could. I'm sure that that Henry is probably. I mean, maybe there's someone who's been working on The Witcher with Henry that actually would be a good director, and it might be a first shot. But hey, if you create a system within Warner Brothers that says we can empower you as a storyteller and as a filmmaker and a writer or whatever to make a great film, then you do that. So I mean, no one. And the other thing too is just consistency within your universe. Not every movie has to have the same tone, but it has to be the audience that every movie is connected. I mean, no one walks around going, "Oh, I only care about the Favreau-verse of the MCU," or
Right.
no one says the Russo-verse or whatever or the Taika-verse in the MCU.
No one definitely says that.
No one.
Ain't nobody asking for that. No, it's
exactly.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
But that's
just to even mention that, I was like, oh.
But that's because everyone understands. It's like, okay, directors come in, they do their thing, they get to play in that sandbox, they get to add whatever element of their personality, their flair in storytelling, their way of dealing with that characters, and then they whether they because they had a good experience and they or finish up their time, or because they're like, you know what, I got other ideas that I'd rather do instead of this, they bow out. Or maybe there's creative differences, but usually Kevin Feige catches that earlier on before they start major production. But it's not always you can't bat 1,000 every time. So if Warner Brothers can get themselves to where they have, okay, at least we're consistent within the broad tone of our universe, then it doesn't matter if Zach's not directing more movies. You can get other directors to come in and do a Justice League or a Superman or like a Batman. I mean, hell, if we're lucky enough to get Ben Affleck to come back and make his movie, Gavin O'Connor would be a good choice for him to direct, because Ben and Gavin have worked together multiple times.
Yeah, the accountant.
The accountant's phenomenal.
The accountant's amazing, and it's an act. And even Gavin O'Connor has different things. He does a lot of this. Whether it's The Way Back or Miracle or Warrior, like he's got a love for sports drama. But The Accountant is a great action movie. And him and Ben have clearly a good working relationship. So he's going to bring a different tone to it than what any other director has brought. But like, we're going to, if the aesthetic is still similar to what came before in BVS, and there's still, maybe you have, Hans Zimmer, I don't know, maybe Hans Zimmer does the music for it or Junkie XL or something like that. I don't know. There's ways to show that like it's connected to the larger thing, but it's just different enough so you can still appreciate it on its own terms. And that's where you can enjoy different directors' interpretations of everything. But it is a sandbox. I mean, that's the reality. You have to recognize, and the studio has to recognize, we are asking these movie directors to play in a particular sandbox that we're setting the boundaries for. And part of the problem is that they've had so far is they've never really defined the parameters of the sandbox. I mean, maybe it was when Zach was still kind of overseeing things, and David Ayer knew what the sandbox was. But since then, James Gunn was never given a sandbox, and every time people would ask, and he probably enjoyed that, but like every time people would ask, is this a sequel to Suicide Squad? Is this connected to the Harley Quinn movie? And what would Warner Brothers say? It's a James Gunn movie. Like that's like they didn't give any clear indication of how it was connected to anything. Yeah. So like the sandbox, I mean, I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying.
It just needs to be a clearer standpoint on where all that stuff is coming from in the first place.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's funny
the one.
about Go ahead, Paul.
I was just gonna say that was one thing that kind of bothered me about the Suicide Squad. Is like he didn't James Gunn. It felt like James Gunn didn't at all bother consulting with Kathy Yan on where to pick up with Harley Quinn in regards to her story, and it just felt like they just wrote off what happened in Birds of Prey. It's like, oh no, she just got out of prison again. Like, how'd she get there? Is what I want to know.
Yeah,
but.
Or like, hopefully, one of the movies that was announced, I don't know where it is in development, but like, Journey Smollett coming back to do a Black Canary with Misha Green.
That's not happening.
That's not happening.
You don't think so?
Well, they'll have to rewrite the whole script again and put it in this new universe or this universe they're going for.
Yeah, I mean, she knocked it out. She did knock it. Misha Green did knock it out of the park with Lovecraft Country. So
what I was gonna say about Gunn was that he's funny because somebody asked him on Twitter before Peacemaker was coming out, do I have to watch the Suicide Squad to know anything about Peacemaker? And he said, no, you don't have to. So he doesn't even tell people to watch his own movies either.
It's true. That's true. That's kind of sad.
He'll say something different about Guardians 3, but
I think the biggest step that, even though they didn't announce it, they just showed a fucking PowerPoint presentation, is that DC is going to be a studio. DC is going to be a studio. It's going to be its own thing.
It was right underneath
It's officially going to be a studio. And like I said earlier, just show us the plan. Give us a plan. Give us the Feige presentation at Comic-Con. Put out the fucking the logos and all that shit. Whatever. Just do that.
Yeah, but the last time they did that was on CW with Kevin Smith and Jeff Johns. Oh, remember that? Remember that special?
Speaking of Kevin Smith, I forgot to mention it earlier, but I saw it on Twitter. Apparently, Zaslav put the axe down again on his at the Strange Adventures series or something.
Somebody sent me that in my DMs. They're like, "Yeah, listen to," because he talked about it on Hollywood Babble, his podcast he does every Friday with Ralph Garman, and I haven't listened to it yet, but apparently, like he got the kibosh on what he was working on when it came to that kind of stuff too. Like,
let me say, can I say something real quick?
No.
Oh, no. For there's a guy in the comments, Red Hood 420 said we don't need another MCU. Well, we're gonna get one because that's what Zaslav wants. He wants it to be like the MCU, so it's gonna be like that. So I don't know what to tell you, bro.
We're gonna get a cohesive. Hopefully, we're gonna get a cohesive universe.
That's hopefully.
It doesn't have to feel or act.
It doesn't have to be like the MCU, but it's
gonna be DC. It's gonna be DC, but it's gonna be all cohesive and connected.
And we're gonna have, and you're gonna have, like, they are going forward with Joker 2.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable to remain optimistic about Matt Reeves' Batman films.
No, it's funny how they announced that. They officially announced it. That was a distraction.
Oh yeah, that was
for
100% a distraction because because of all the bad shit that was happening. They're like, hey, I mean, the movie's not coming out for over 2 years. Why the fuck were they? Yeah, they totally did that as a distraction because they knew that it would be huge and it blew up. Yes, they totally did that as a distraction. Yeah,
definitely.
Right.
The what?
Same as
Joker. Wait, what?
Huh? Joker probably.
No, we were talking about that. Yeah, that's why they announced Joker 2 because of that.
But also, but in the end, like, as far as like, I'm sad that like what Kevin Smith was working on was dumped. But honestly, that just goes to show that this is what we were talking, what you were talking about before, Dave, is that the old guard has been greenlighting all this stuff. Because they know their time's going to end, so they're trying to greenlight all this stuff and then dump it all on Zaslav. And now that's trying to make Zaslav like the bad guy, essentially.
We just need that DC head, man.
They don't really need their help for that.
Yeah.
There's a whole narrative on Twitter about, Zaslav. He's just a rich white dude, Trump supporting asshole, racist, canceling everything.
Seen a lot of that.
But he doesn't care. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about that. No, he cares about numbers. That's it.
Yeah.
What's gonna drive the numbers?
And to be fair, Jose, you were the one trashing Zaslav in the chats. Remember?
Yeah, but I'm like, come on, it's me. Like, don't take me seriously all the time. I troll a lot. We do a little bit of trolling.
Well, no, I know. Like when it came to the Batgirl news, we were all kind of like, "This."
But
is
even you
up.
said it, David. It's not a good look. Can you imagine? Can you imagine they cancel this Batgirl movie, right? And then they announce that they're gonna do Batgirl again in a couple whatever years, and it's a white redhead girl. Can you imagine how people are gonna lose their shit?
Oh no! I know. Like the optics don't look great. The optics don't look great. And then we even talked about like how it sets a bad precedent of like the fact is like who's gonna want to work for Warner Brothers Discovery if they're doing this. But then at the same time, like even talking to like people in the business to go like, yeah, but this shakeup maybe is what the whole industry needed was just like, hey, you laid the ground rules of like, hey, this is the way it needs to be. We need to bring down budgets, salaries, and all this stuff. It's gotten way too out of control. So maybe everybody will follow suit. And I'm kind of going, well, that's an interesting take because everything is crazy. Like the budgets for some of these movies, and mainly because of the salaries they're paying some of these actors, is like it gets a little out of control. Even the producers are getting paid ridiculous amounts of money too. And it's like, if we got to bring that down where it's like, hey, we're not just like doing these big movies so you can get a fucking hefty goddamn lottery, ticket,
bonus,
or whatever the fuck. Let's make some good shit where it's like, hey, where people are gonna appreciate it and whatnot. So, that's when I looked at it from that aspect, talking to those people and going, interesting. Hopefully, maybe we can get it to that too. I mean, because even Disney Plus is not. Disney is kind of going like, and then look what happens. The quality gets sacrificed. You have an Obi-Wan Kenobi series that it's like, yeah, it was good for the most part, but there was a lot of things where it was like, this should have been way more cinematic or better filmed and blah, blah, blah. But there was all kinds of other shit that,
It's like Zaslav. I mean, Zaslav said it himself. It's about quantity, not quality.
Yes.
That's what we're not just going to put out. We're not just going to put out a bunch of stuff. We're going to put out stuff. And I hope it's true.
Yeah. Did anyone take notice of when Zaslav said we're not going to release a movie just to make a quarter?
Yeah.
Which
I like that. I like that he said that. I'm like, good.
I think there was a shot at like Sujihara and Emmerich because they released Justice League before it was ready to make their bonuses.
Yeah.
Were we gonna? You were gonna say something, Jason? Maybe.
Yeah. So, like with the Batgirl movie, right? I mean, I really wanted to see Batgirl. I've got to be honest,
Yeah, me too.
But like Dave, with what you were saying with the whole 4D chess move thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, the expectation is that they're going to do the whole tax write-off thing with it, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they don't do that, or if it's not confirmed that they haven't done that yet, then theoretically we could still see it, albeit on like streaming or whatever, So until we get that confirmation that they're doing the tax write-off on the Batgirl movie, you just never know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a theory on a place where they could release it, and it's still. I mean, I don't know tax laws, so I don't know.
Don't say Pornhub. Sorry.
Well, you know how there's. I mean, so many TV shows. There's so many pilots that are filmed and never get put to series. Aren't there like I know it's out there. I don't know what it is.
Hopefully.
Like there's an Aquaman pilot with Justin Hartley. And it's on one of the Smallville box sets, season box set, or did the pilot for the Wonder Woman David E. Kelly thing with Adrienne Palicki. Did that ever get released on like as part of like a video series?
That Pedro Pascal was actually in too.
Is he in that one? Yeah. So sometimes they release random stuff like that as part of like another video, like as part of one of the bonus features. So I mean, who knows? Maybe
I don't think so. I think Zaslav the type of dude is like, this is what we're gonna do, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
like,
I'm just saying that was one hypothetical possibility that we're like they're not technically making money on it if it's a bonus feature. They're making money on the main movie or TV series that the Blu-ray sale is about, and that just happens to be a bonus feature. So I don't know if that's a loophole or not, but or if it doesn't count, but whatever. That was one thought I had as far as that might be one way where it officially gets released, but like it's not made that it by itself is not a profit incentive. So
I remember like I had like on the DVD or Blu-ray of a Blazing Saddles, they had the pilot for this show that was loosely based off of it, and it was supposed to be the pilot. It was Black Bart, and it's completely different from it. And I saw that pilot, and I was like, I can see why this was not.
I know. I mean, it is part of the business where it's like, hey, all right, this is not the quality that it should be. I mean, you always forget, like, you know, especially when it comes to TV shows, how many times have they like, hey, they go into like that Wonder Woman pilot. And I remember seeing the set photos and everything like that. And even, you know, going, eesh, really? That's what her costume looks like? And I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll find out and see what happens with that. But then it got shelved, and it was just, yeah, I mean, it's part of the business. But you know, but at the same time, it's like when you're, I mean, this is what sucks about the fact that, you know, when it comes to Batgirl, it's like they already shot it all. We saw the set photos, and a lot of us were kind of going, whoa, what's happening here? This kind of looks cool, you know? And then all of a sudden it's like well, I think they said about 10 to 12 weeks that they were in post-production. So there was definitely an assembly cut that got shown, and apparently it just wasn't good enough. But, you know, we've kind of heard that stuff before too. And it's just I don't know. It's all very strange. And you feel bad for them. But at the same time, you also, you know, I can also see the business side of it too, where they're like, you know, this new regime comes in and goes, no, that's crap. We can't do that. We can't do it. We just can't. But
I mean, you know, you always see the comments about people saying, you know, it's okay, they got paid, but you know,
I hate that.
It's not about that, man. It's just like when you're attached to a movie that gets cancelled, man, it's like you think to yourself, oh fuck, you know, it's just you feel it's just heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, no, it's heartbreaking. What were you gonna say, Eric?
Well, it's just that again, Scooby Pants was claiming that Batgirl got the same reaction in the test screenings that Black Adam did, and I'm like, you're full of crap.
I mean, even if that's correct, though, at the same time, they're not going to cancel Black Adam. They're not, because it's coming out in October. It's got Dwayne Johnson in it. It's got Pierce Brosnan in it. There's no way that you do it like in the budget that they've already put like in entirely all that. There's no way that they're going to cancel that. There's just no way. Even if it tested worse, even if it tested worse than Batgirl, there's no way that they're all right, we're going to try and see what happens. And, you know, and when it comes to that, I'm like, it's going to be curious. I'm going to get curious to see what happens with it. Maybe it'll be a surprise hit. Who knows? But if it doesn't make close to $1 billion, it's going to be a one and done. We're not going to, you know, Dwayne Johnson, sorry that you've been trying to get this project on its feet for about, you know, almost 15 years, but it's probably not going to go anywhere else but just be that one. So I don't know.
I think that his all this talk about the hierarchy of power in the DC universe, as it turns out, what that statement really means is there's going to be a new heads of DC films.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is they need that, but at the same time, they're having a difficult time trying to find that, because people are like, oh, that's a big burden. You know, it is a big burden. I mean, we can all just shoot out names, but no, like your Jay Oliva or your Debbie Snyder, which is always a funny story.
She doesn't want that fucking job.
No, she doesn't want to do that shit.
I think Charles Roven would probably be game for that job. That's just my
I mean, if I was going to do that, yeah, Charles Roven maybe, but maybe he doesn't even want to do it. You know, he's up in it. You know, it's got to be somebody. It's got to be somebody, you know, younger and just have like fire in their belly. Whether it's a guy or a girl, doesn't matter. I'm like, you know, anybody who knows the content, anybody who's a nerd, because one of the things is Kevin Feige was very much aware, like he very much is a nerd himself. So he started working on, he was there for X-Men, you know, he was there for that early stuff. He saw how the sausage was made and how what is it gonna take to do something. And then when he, you know, set off to do, you know, the whole Marvel Studios thing, he accomplished that. So obviously they're trying to look for somebody who had that fire that Kevin Feige had, and that's difficult to find, because then there's people going, fuck no, I don't want to do that. That sounds like a taxing. That's going to be like a big chunk of my life trying to accomplish something that maybe can't be accomplished. I don't know. So
What was Peter
It would have to be
Rice's?
someone-
What's
it would
Peter
have to
Rice's background?
Huh?
It would have to be someone who loves the DC comics, DC characters with passion.
Okay, fine. I'll do it.
Yeah, I know. All of us right here. All of us right here can get paid whatever they were going to pay him. We could split it. We'll be fine. As long as we have a decent living, we can have a decent living and we could just brainstorm and just like, hey, we'll do
I mean,
this.
whoever it's going to be, even if they're only like, if they're a fan of DC, but they're not like steeped in the knowledge, if they just if they create have a creative committee with input from people like a Jim Lee, like a Deborah Snyder, like a I don't know Charles Roven or other people like and heck, maybe bring in some occasional writer, maybe have a few conversations with Grant Morrison or something like that, here and there.
I feel like if you're going to have anyone from DC in that kind of creative brain trust or like on those conversations, you're going to want someone who's actively writing at DC today and someone who gets to regularly play with all the characters in a different form. I would probably suggest somebody like Scott Snyder, Tom Taylor, Grant Morrison, like a lot of those writers who are really deeply involved with a lot of different characters as opposed to just, single characters.
And the DC head needs to be able to like hear all those voices and figure out how to like funnel and consolidate them.
Right.
I didn't think of that, Bill, but yeah, Scott Snyder. And it doesn't hurt that, names aside, Scott Snyder has expressed approval, appreciation for that stuff.
Yeah. I can tell you this though, Scott Snyder is very, very focused on his independent books, and really at this stage of his career, he's really, really laser focused, and he's got stuff in development too. Like he's working with Netflix. I think it's either Netflix or Amazon. Like he's got his horror book Witches that he released through Image. They're adapting that into a show, and he's been in the writer's room, and the artist who did the art on that book, is doing concept art and stuff like that for the show. So he's been steeped in that. He's got I don't know where things are at, but like his book that he launched recently as part of his whole new line of stuff of Noctera. I think he's helping, he's got a hand in that and the production of that becoming either a Netflix show or something like that. So he's really going full tilt with his creator and stuff. But if they called him and said, hey, we want to get your take on Batman, Superman, Justice League, and how to build a universe going forward, he probably would. I mean, he'd probably welcome the invitation at least.
Yeah, so. I mean, his Batman was excellent, and his Justice League was excellent. So there you go.
And Superman Unchained was one of the best Superman books of the New 52 era.
Yeah. And even like his Batman All-Star, when it came to the Rebirth era, I thought that was a great like opening for that with him and Two-Face. When it came to Scott Snyder. Like one of the things that would be pretty unique is like, when it comes to the MCU, it's like obviously sometimes there's going to be crossovers that happen in individual movies. But I mean, if you actually would have like what DC maybe should think about is like have a movie where you like have two characters at the forefront, have a world's finest, have a trinity, something like that, because you never hear really when it comes to the MCU, it's always like, obviously you have the Avengers and then maybe like Civil War. And then of course you have but it's Captain America's movie, but you have all these characters in it or whatever the fuck. Actually just sell it right up front where it's like, hey, guess what? We're going to have a movie with these two characters pairing off. The whole movie is them just in a movie or something like that. Maybe do something like that. And that's why I said if you really wanted to like blow up the internet and you're going, all right, if you get Affleck back, if you get Cavill back, go balls to the wall and just be like, hey, we're going to do a world's finest movie. Right there. We're going to have both of them in there and people will be like, holy shit, wait, what? So we're going to have a movie with Batman and Superman and they're not fighting each other? What? Holy shit. Like what? People would just lose their minds.
Yeah. I think the best characters for that would be Batman and Superman and a Flash and Green Lantern movie. A buddy movie with those two.
Yeah. Start pairing off some of these guys. Do that because that's not what Marvel's doing. Marvel is just like, here's the Thor movie, but yeah, you might get a cameo from somewhere else. But to have an actual movie where you pairing some people off, where it's not a big, huge like team up movie, it's just two of the characters coming together. Because some of those, when you read some of those books where two characters are paired off, they're really good. And it's like, yeah, because they're playing off each other because they're different and the way that they, just the chemistry or whatever. Why not? Yeah.
Like hell yeah, I talked a while back about like a spec script I was writing, Wonder Woman and Lois Lane, but that's probably not what we're talking about, is it?
Well, I mean, that could work too. I mean, that would be interesting. Something like that, where it's like you have a movie where literally you have this Amazonian goddess, and then you have this human being, but she's a crafty reporter. I mean, I know you've always talked about that. I've always been like, hey, yeah, I mean, it would never happen, but at the same time, I'm intrigued by it because it's, again, people would like it because of the way that they're so opposite. And it's like, if you can get a good script with some good dialogue and you get two actors that could be really like have a good chemistry.
Have you guys seen have you guys read the Shazam leaks?
No.
Yes.
Any of you?
No. Way back when, I think even 2 months ago when we first started talking about the Shazam leaks on Reddit.
Right. There's a certain Justice League member that's going to be in the movie, not just as a cameo, but as a prominent role as well too. So I mean, even the old regime, whatever, if they had a plan or not, was still kind of going that route, because I remember I saw a post and then I was like, yeah, that's true. Every single movie that's coming out is going to have a cameo in some way, except for Blue Beetle, because we don't know really much about Blue Beetle. But you have Black Adam, they have the cameo, which is going to be Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller is going to be in the movie, and then Hardcore is going to be in the movie. Who knows if Superman is going to be in the movie? Flash is just full of people. Then you got the Shazam, where you have, not to spoil it for everybody, certain characters in that movie too. And then
was that character on a bus?
She was on the bus. I'll say this: when she walks into a room, Ancient Lamentation starts playing. When she opens the fridge, Ancient Lamentations. But yeah, it's like, okay, they were building these movies with cameos, so okay, well, let's see what happens with that. And then now with the new regime, do it even better. Give us, like Dave said, a buddy movie with two characters.
That's something that MCU has not done. So why not try to like implement that with this new plan? It's like,
well, they tried with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that show wasn't even that great.
Yeah, I know.
They
awesome.
do, it's but my top three Disney Plus shows.
Well, of course
they do it, but they do it under the guise of like solo films, right? Like they did Thor Ragnarok, which was essentially kind of like a Thor and Hulk movie, but it really kind of wasn't. And you've also got, Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was a series, wasn't a movie. And then you've also got, you could maybe say Winter Soldier, the film, was kind of like a team up between like Captain America and Black Widow.
Multiverse of Madness was not a team up, but it's an interesting interesting dynamic between two pre-established characters.
Sure. Yeah. And it worked very well. But I'm just saying, sell the product as, hey, we're going to have a movie. Yeah, we're going to have a movie that has these two characters. I mean, again, if they were to happen to nail down Affleck and Cavill, have a world's finest.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that movie would be so fucking that would just everybody would be like, oh shit, I guess we have a plan here. Look at this. We're going to get a Batman and Superman movie again, but they're not fighting each other. They're teaming up 100%. It's world's finest. Holy shit. Like,
can you imagine how awesome that would be?
Yeah. And it's Cavill and Affleck. What the fuck? It's crazy. It would be crazy.
You'd have to introduce the characters, but a celebrated run is the hard traveling heroes with Green Arrow, Green Lantern. So depending on how you
do something like that, yeah,
that would be cool. Yeah, I have a different question for you guys, more along the lines of Green Lantern. Why do you think that has been why has Green Lantern been do you think there's something on the concept level that's really, really hard for a lot of the people at Warner Brothers to wrap their minds around? I mean, like, we all get it because we're comic book nerds, and whoever was developing probably understood it, but is there something about
it's the burden of that 2011 movie, and the fact that there's gonna have to be a shit ton of VFX.
No, you know what it is? They saw the character that's the Green Lantern that's basically like a floating head, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
What the fuck is a Kilowog? What is this? What the fuck is this?
I mean, out of all of the fucking characters, in the DC, we are way, way overdue for some Green Lantern fucking stuff. Man.
Oh, big time.
Big time.
Jesus Christ.
Remember what David Goyer was saying about his old script, that it was a space cop movie. Just look at them at space cops. Like space cops, like that should be a very concept.
Dude, I think the Green Lantern Corps could be like the DC's Guardians. Honestly, they could be the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But make it that Lethal Weapon in space. Make it with Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and just like there. I mean, you have to. Again, the biggest thing is just casting two actors that have great chemistry together, like that has been captured many times in buddy cop movies, and of course we always look at Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. They had like the best. I mean, that's what started the whole buddy cop genre, was those two. Yeah. When they announced that, and you sell it as, and that's the thing, they were trying to put that, like they were trying to sell it as a buddy cop movie in space, and everybody went, yeah, that's cool. Bring it. And then nothing ever happened. So if you're going to do a Green Lantern, please sell it continually as that, because people are on board for a buddy cop movie in space, in the cosmos, because we really haven't seen that. We haven't seen that yet. So that's something fresh.
I will say this. If we had Wayne as Jon Stewart, okay, fine. Who would play off of him? Well, look, Ryan Reynolds has great chemistry with everybody. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
But he's busy. Wait. You don't like Sam Benjamin? Just kidding. That's just, I don't know.
I mean,
I just said that name.
I remember thinking really thinking seriously after the first Guardians of the Galaxy came out. I remember saying to myself, Warner Brothers is out of excuses for Green Lantern. Like the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy worked as well as it did, like that's where the people at Warner Brothers is like, we just don't get it. Like that's where
I know. I think they're too busy going like, man, we have this stigma from the 2011 thing and blah blah blah. I'm like, and I love the fact that Zach was like, yeah, if I had a Hal Jordan, I guess it would be Ryan Reynolds. He didn't give a fuck. He was like,
I mean, it's time for Ryan Reynolds to redeem himself from that other piece of shit he did, and I'm sure he could do it, man.
Oh yeah, he totally could.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I always thought Chris Pratt would make a great Guy Gardner.
Yeah, Chris Pratt would work. Yeah.
If you look at the main characters for Green Lantern, I mean, you have your Guardians team right there. Aside from Hal and John, you have Tomar Ray, Kilowog, and what's her name? The Hispanic one, I forget the one that
Jessica Cruz.
Jessica Cruz.
Jessica Cruz.
What's her name? Zoe Saldana's character.
Gamora.
Gamora. There you go.
Yeah. No.
There's a lot of potential with the Green Lantern Corps.
Totally is.
Yeah, man.
Just copy one of the animated movies, for fuck's sake.
Or even I really got into when Rebirth happened. I got really into the new Green Lanterns, which was Jessica Cruz and Baz. What's his name?
Simon Baz.
Yeah, Simon Baz. There you go. Great story. And then even the Hal Jordan story, which is what its own dedicated story, because it was like, what happened to Hal Jordan? He was like lost in the cosmos, and it was a really cool story of him trying to come back because he did this whole crazy battle and got freaking lost in the cosmos, where he was just like, yeah. And then you had Jon Stewart like heading the Green Lantern army, not knowing where Hal is. I mean, there's so many things you could do. There's a big world out there when it comes to Green Lantern.
You know who would be a good Guy Gardner? Glenn Powell.
Yes.
Even a Hal Jordan would be a good Hal Jordan too. Yeah.
Well, he's used to playing kind of like the dick. So Guy Gardner would be pretty good for him.
The bowl cut.
I mean, Hal Jordan's cocky, so
yeah. I don't know. There's so many.
I just want to see Guy Gardner with the bowl cut. Seriously.
Have the bowl cut, the jacket.
Just give me a scene with Affleck. Isn't Guy Gardner the one that Batman punches in the comic?
Yes.
Yeah, right. He's the one that doesn't he knock him out?
Yes.
And then they're like, one punch. I think who's like yelling in the background? It was
So,
they're like one punch,
if
you
I'm
knock him out with
remembering
one
correctly,
punch.
it's a Justice League International comic. Batman just cold cocks Guy Gardner, and I think Martian Manhunter says something to the effect of like, that was unexpected or something like that. A couple people laughed.
I always like how Batman was able to, like in the first issue of the New 52 Justice League, Batman is able to get Hal Jordan's ring off his finger without Hal even noticing.
That's what I love about Batman. That's what I love. That's what you got to love about Batman, and like have those aspects in there. Like I mean, that's what I love about what was that animated film where obviously the Justice League has to take on like all Batman's contingencies happen without his
Doom.
Justice League Doom.
Doom. Yeah, there you go. Justice League Doom. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, Jesus Christ. Warner Brothers Discovery and DC, don't be afraid of adapting your books. They're good. Okay? Zack Snyder took pieces out of it. Maybe Nolan did too. Christopher Reeves. Matt Reeves also did the same thing, pulling pieces out of your books. Don't be afraid to actually go, hey, let's do something about this book right here that we have all this. You have 80 plus years of fucking literature right here, and
going back to the heroes teaming up thing, we're gonna get in the Flash movie, we'll get a flavor of that with Batman and Flash.
Yeah,
and so that they're always a fun combo together.
Well, there's a rumor that there's a scene with the whole Justice League in it, except for Ray Fisher, of course. But
imagine if Uxas had been able to grab Green Lantern's ring from the history lesson. How interesting that would have been.
Exactly. Like, lean into this shit. Lean into. I mean, that's what Marvel Studios like lean into. Like a lot of the shit where it's like, okay, yeah, remember when in Age of Ultron when Captain America almost picked up the hammer, like it moved a little bit, and Thor was like, "What the fuck?" And then all of a sudden, guess what? It all worked out. Like years later in Endgame, where he literally just boom, and it was like, it was a crowd.
Yeah, but then you also have stupid shit like the little kid in Iron Man 3 is Peter Parker. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up.
I still believe that, Jose. I still believe that was Peter.
You know who also would be a great pairing if they ever were able to figure out how to put them on screen together? Cyborg and Supergirl. Which I might have written something about that.
There's that too.
Those two characters together.
We need some Teen Titans, man. That's what we need. We need some Teen Titans.
Oh yeah,
with a dead Dick Grayson in the universe. Sorry, what?
Well, I would say
Restore the Dick verse.
Apparently, Phil wants some dick in the universe.
Release the dick.
Right.
You brought up Cyborg. I would think Cyborg and Harley Quinn.
Whoa, what?
That's interesting.
That's random. No, you know who I want? If we're gonna keep it like this, give me some Harley and Vigilante.
I could buy that. Yeah,
between those two,
Harley and Vigilante.
Yeah.
Upstage each other, but anyway.
Yeah, from Peacemaker, Carrie, the show you never watched.
Yeah, I know.
No, if I had to suggest anything for Warner Brothers, it's like do team ups, do like pair offs with something. I mean, that's something Marvel's not doing. They have their movies, but if you were to have, I mean, obviously when you look at the books, you have your World's Finest, or you have these titles that you could actually utilize them and just have these pair offs and see what happens. And people might actually dig it because it's something different, because it's like, oh shit, we're gonna see a movie with these two and they're the central characters and it's gonna be like a buddy kind of movie. Well, yeah, I'm gonna buy a ticket for that.
In Birds of Prey, and if they could give them a little bit better costume, then you got Huntress and Black Canary there together. So
people like duos. No matter what, that's never gotten old. Is like a duo together. That's never been people like when you talk about like movies that are underrated, or if like, I mean, The Nice Guys, it's two pairings together. That was great. I love that movie, and it didn't get appreciated like as it did. I say the same thing about Miami Vice. Again, it's a cop, it's a duo. Duos are really work well.
Look at the Rush Hour trilogy.
I was telling Phil, that when it comes to Iron Man, I'm very split on Iron Man 3, but one of the things that works really, really well in that is Rhodey and Tony's, partnership and the way they play off. I mean, even though it's not the first time, but like it is more buddy. It is a more buddy cop like in a lot
I
of the
don't
scenes.
know. After the first Iron Man, it was something a little different about Rhodey. I don't know.
What are you talking about? It's the same guy. It's the same guy.
And go.
That's perhaps the single best movie in the MCU, Captain America: Winter Soldier, it's a team up movie with Cap and Black Widow.
Yep, exactly. We talked about that earlier. I mean, that's the thing, but you have to sell it like that. So maybe that could be an idea of something. It's like, yeah, you can have the solo movies, but you know what? Think about just pair these people off, And I'm telling you, if they could secure Cavill and Affleck, it's like, dude, just go fucking balls to the wall and take world's finest.
Yep.
Do it. Just fucking do it, and everybody would be like, wow. Everybody would be shocked. It would rock the internet big time. World's Finest with Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. Jesus Christ, that would be something amazing. And then you could even have some cameos that thrown in there. Maybe Gal Gadot could show up in there. Who knows? But don't even announce it. Keep it a secret. Sell it as those two, and that movie would be fucking huge. It would be huge.
I mean, another one
huge.
Really cool to see.
Huge.
I'm just spitballing here, but a Will Smith, Idris Elba.
Oh, that would be
not the full task force, but just the two, assassins, and maybe they gotta find a Deathstroke.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were wanting that after the Suicide Squad and seeing, and that would be huge too. I mean, obviously with the Will Smith stuff that's happened this year, obviously it's like starting to wind down now. But I mean, imagine just like everybody loves these two to be in a movie together. My God,
like it would not do this, but it would be so perfect if like Amanda Waller goes to Deadshot and starts talk to him and starts taunting him about what would happen to his daughter, and keep my daughter's name out of your.
I mean, if you wanted to lean into it, that could be something that's in it. I mean, Will Smith, you're gonna have to.
Sure, why not?
That's always gonna be a part of his. That's always gonna be on his back about that.
Yep.
So if he were to do something like that in a movie, I think people would actually go, "Oh my God, he actually did that," and they would laugh their asses off. So you actually might be on something there, Eric. Yeah, got to lean into it. But anyways, guys, you know what? I think this is a good spot to wrap up. I mean, this is this has been fun as always. I think we got our points out there. And again, I think we all should be the head of DC. I think we came up with some good ideas. I don't know about you.
You're looking at our writers' room. A good
exactly. Yeah, take whatever you're gonna pay that one person and just divide it up into 7 right here. And
that's fine. We'll do all the work, and then Jacob will feed us chocolate-covered strawberries.
Why not?
I like it. But let's go around the horn and promote ourselves. And hey, he's still awake. And thank God that when you said, when Carrie asked that if you got pineapple on your pizza, you said, hell no. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Phil.
Well, it's always a blast doing these Patreon chats, my guy. If y'all want to follow me along, it's just at Unfiltered. You can also catch me on the Four Nerds most Thursdays and my podcast, The Eternal Night, as well as Superhero Stress, which recently I had Carrie on. We talked about Marvel Studios panel and how much of an experience that was as well. So if you guys want to, by all means, check that out.
I'll do it. All right. And then what's on your pizza, by the way? I have to know.
I'm a plain Jane, man. Pepperoni.
Okay. That's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Good pepperoni pizza, fine by me. All right, Eric.
All right,
as long as there's no pineapple. Shit.
Yep.
Anyway.
I know. Well, like I said, this time I just put the lime in the coconut, like the song goes, and I drank it both times. So anyway, you can find me on YouTube at Hardboiled Entertainment. You can see me on Twitter at Hardboiled Films. We're still working on we're still trying to get the cast together for Just League Sunset of the Gods. And speaking of that, Phil, the more I listen to your voice, the more I'm thinking you would be a great Superman. Come on, why don't you apply? Do a recording, DM me. Let's see, Phil.
I mean, I already sent you some stuff for a different character, but yeah, I can do something for Superman.
No, he's got a good voice. He's got a good voice for it.
I try.
But just make sure you don't fall asleep during the recordings.
Will do.
Dude, that's always going to be your thing now, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, cool. All right, Carrie, got anything to plug?
Find me a bit in Dayton, Ohio. Apparently, I don't know how I ended up out here.
You look very relaxed, though.
I mean, yeah, I'm on the one piece of cushioning that I have in my.
How was the weather there today?
What's that?
How was the weather there today?
It's during the day. It's actually been a little humid, which is I'm not used to humidity. It's been hot off and on, but nothing overwhelmingly hot or anything like that. And then it cools down decently in the evenings. So they get like, at least in this time of year, I think they get like 20 minutes of rain each day, or something like that. So, but anyways, at KM Vandenberg on Twitter, and as Phil mentioned, I appeared on Superheroes Dressed to talk Comic-Con and the Marvel Studios Hall H panel. I also did do an episode on the DC Squadcast with Tim and Scott talking about the Hall H presentation of DC, and we went in pretty good depth on Warner Brothers panels and the Shazam and Black Adam panels and everything. But we did talk about Henry Cavill not showing up, very much sucking the air out of the room, even though in the room the excitement was there for both those panels, but they ended up falling flat by the end, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I talked about that on that episode, whichever most recent episode that was with the Squadcast. A lot of fun, and yeah.
There it is. And making his debut on this stream, Mr. Jason McKenzie.
Hey, folks. I'm just Jason, all the way from New Zealand. I don't have any channels or anything. I'm just a big-time supporter of Dave the Film Junkie. Been rocking for a long time. And, I'll be back for sure. And whatever you do, don't put fucking pineapple on your pizza.
He said it right there, people, right there from the land down under. He mentioned it. Yes.
Well, I did on this stream, so
yeah. Don't dare put that devil fruit on your pizza. All right, Jacob or Tanae. How do you say her name? Tenacious bitch. Tanasha. I always say it wrong.
Tanasha.
I'm so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I got none. Just buy this Green Lantern movie.
Yeah, Brian.
Wait,
was it pretty
that's
good?
out physically? I thought it doesn't come out till like next week.
No,
Did you get it early?
No, he got
the hookup.
Fuck.
July
All right.
26th, something like that.
Is it pretty good?
I know what I gotta go look for tomorrow. Holy
And
shit!
obviously, it's Have a Moment
We
of
gotta watch it
Silence
too.
for the show this was supposed to promote, which is not happening now. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Look at this other steelbook I got. It's Dr. Strange.
Oh, look at you. Look at that. Yes, there's a good look at that cover. I like that cover. And congratulations on fiance. Look at you.
Thank you. Actually, and yeah, that's been since June, the last week of June as well. So
Last week of June. So man,
that's a long
big
story.
things have happened.
I gotta tell you about it on the next show.
Okay. Well, good. We'll talk about that. All right, Jose. The Dodger fan.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Jose, aka JJJ. Thanks to Steph for giving me that nickname. That's my handle right there on Twitter. You can follow me if you want. That's pretty much it. I mean, I just one final point. I guess I would say I'm excited for the DC. The future of DC. Hopefully, it's not all talk. Hopefully, I do something. And it's not all bad. I mean, Gotham Knights apparently got canceled, so it's not all bad news.
Did that officially get announced?
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll see all you guys in the chat during the week.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you, everybody. What? Oh yeah, say hi to Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
But thank you to everybody. You guys are awesome for this is a nice little community that we're building up right here, and hopefully we can expand on it and do some things where we do more of this kind of stuff. I always like getting discussions and everything, the different voices, different perspectives. Like I said, again, I mean, I think we could be, giving those ideas to Warner Brothers Discovery. What could he do? But but talking about what you just said right now, Jose, is like, even though, and I think me and Enosh kind of talked about it in messaging, is like, even though like it's all crazy right now, it's kind of exciting because it's like, all right, maybe something's going to come out of this and it could be some really cool stuff, like stuff that we want. Maybe it's not fully what we want because obviously we wanted Zach to continue his stuff. But then if we get remnants of his stuff and we still get some of the actors that we still want, it's pretty exciting. And even if they do try to do like, hey, let's do a full reset eventually, that's kind of exciting too, because like, all right, so then show me what you got and let's see what happens and everything. So it would be pretty cool. And Jesus Christ. All right, Clue, I'm wrapping up right now, man, and you just showed up right now.
Clue, man.
Yes.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll come through next time.
Yeah.
We got 3 minutes until 10 o'clock.
I think Clue is actually my neighbor from across the ditch.
Yeah, I think Clue is like he's right across your water.
You're in Australia,
right there,
dude.
right?
Aussie, yeah.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
I just walked out of Top Gun. That's why I.
Okay.
Nice.
Respect for you showing up right now. Let's talk a little bit Top Gun. What'd you think? Was that the first time you saw it?
First time I saw it, review was it made the first movie look like a total garbage film. So yeah, I mean, I have no ties to the first movie. I watched it for the first time. Finally, like it was just always one of those. Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. I only watched it a couple of weeks ago for the first time. I liked it. It was cool. But in the cinema, seeing the second one, doing it all properly, it was fucking phenomenal.
Nice. No, I even said that. I think we talked about that a little last night too. It was like, yeah, it's a better film, but the first one's iconic. But imagine watching that film in 1986. You'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. So it's like, oh yeah, now that it's 2020, whatever that, well, they filmed it in like 2018 or whatever the fuck. But at the same time, it's like, all right, how do you push it? And okay, here's a little fun fact, I guess, that I heard off a podcast. I heard it from, I don't know if anybody knows who the comedian Andrew Schultz is.
I do.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, look him up. He's like he's kind of blowing up right now. He's a funny dude, really funny dude. Pushes the boundaries, and he said,
"Give a fuck."
Yeah, he does not give a fuck, and he said, "Fuck you" to when he sold his special. Basically, they were like, "Hey, can you cut some of these jokes? They're a little too risky." And he said, "Fuck no," bought his special back, and then he sold it by himself. That's awesome. But he actually had, I guess he had lunch or he had some kind of a meal with Krasinski. What's it? Joseph Kosinski, right?
Kosinski.
Yeah. And apparently, like he said this on a podcast. I forgot which podcast because he's been making the round. It wasn't. I don't know if it was his own, but he probably said it on his own too. But apparently, Kosinski told him like, all right, so how he sold Top Gun Maverick to Tom Cruise, because apparently Tom Cruise for like the past 30 years has been like, hey, he's been pitched a Top Gun sequel and he's always turned it down. And apparently he was just like, oh yeah, there was like 4 different things. He said, and I'm totally gonna butcher it, and I'm probably not gonna remember like some of it, but at the same time, he was like, one of the things that he pitched was like the opening scene is gonna have Pete Mitchell going to that Mach 10 kind of thing with the sonic jet thing, and Pete Mitchell is going to be the fastest man alive. Oh, whoa, well, of course that tickled Tom Cruise. Like, oh, so my character is going to be like the fastest man alive. Cool. Oh, and everything's going to be practical. Everything's going to be practical also. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. So we're not going to do any like set stuff. And I'm like, man, nobody pitched that to Tom Cruise. Like they just were like trying to pitch him story ideas, but it's like he's pitching them how they're going to do some things. And I'm like, that's a good idea to pitch Tom Cruise practical. Like, not yet. We're actually going to get people up in jets, and all the scenes are not going to be on a set. And then he also pitched them, of course, the whole goose thing, the Goose Sun thing. And then he the last thing was, we're not going to call it Top Gun 2. We're going to call it Top Gun Maverick. And I guess that was the final nail in the coffin for Tom Cruise to be like,
appeals to the ego.
Yes. I mean, like, let's face it.
He was like, well, shit. You should have led with that.
Yeah. So apparently, like, those 4 things were like, I mean, I'm sure he's gotten different variations of like the goose thing, but with everything else, I've been like, hey, like what he was pitching was like, hey, we're gonna do it, and this is how I'm gonna title it. It wasn't even so much what the story was gonna be fully about. It's like, yeah, there's gonna be the goose aspect, but he was like practicality. Pete Mitchell's gonna we're gonna have a start out. The first scene's gonna be him pushing the boundaries of like flight. And then just to round it off, we're like, no, not Top Gun 2, Top Gun Maverick. And it was like, whoa, that apparently that's what did it. That's what did it.
You have to assume like Chris McQuarrie writing it as well, or the screenplay by helps all that. It was great. I thought Miles Teller was really good too. The dude who was Hangman as well. I was looking at him the whole time going, who are you? You remind me of someone. And then it clicked to me at the end that he looks so much like young Val Kilmer. And it was like,
he's the guy.
Yeah,
that actor Glenn. Oh, by the way, Joseph Kaczynski. I think he'd be a good Man of Steel sequel director. I think with Cavill. So Glenn Powell, he's the guy in Dark Knight Rises that Bane snaps the neck of at the stock exchange.
Yep, he was in there.
Yeah,
he was in there. Yeah,
I was looking up his IMDb immediately after, and I'm like, haven't seen him in really anything. Dark Knight Rises, but
he just has that face. He has that face.
Yeah.
There's no money. Then why are you here?
Yeah, he was there. But yeah, I mean, but then we're all like going, hey, he could be a good Hal Jordan, maybe, or a Guy Gardner, maybe, somebody. Yeah. He's got that douchey type quality where you look at him, you want to punch him in the face, but at the same time, maybe he'll be a good guy. I mean, that's what happened in Top Gun.
That's Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds kind of like in the similar fashion. In a similar fashion. But anyways, we're going to wrap this up. Clue, thank you for joining right at the last minute. The next time we do it, well, hopefully you'll join more at the beginning. But we're going on 3 hours right now. But I appreciate you joining in and look forward to the next one, guys. And everybody, you smash that like, thumbs up, do all that stuff. Everything's down there. And if you want to participate, I mean, trying to build this Patreon family. It's a lot of fun, talking.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, guys. Talk to you later.